Oh boy. So, my intention is to keep this relatively short and simple. I am live streaming this. I'll get the chat up very shortly. And my intention with live streaming this is to, give people the opportunity just in case I make some stupid thing, or maybe someone has an interesting comparison that I didn't think of in my planning and prep for making this. Yada yada. I think it's valuable to have a live stream format for something like this. I am not intending to have a 3-hour live stream here. Hopefully this is like 30 minutes or less of me showing some calcs. I want to show some things because, so in case you aren't aware what this is about, this is on my Escoffier DPS video, like main DPS Escoffier video. I use this specific team, and I yapped about Citlali C1, and how, and also things like how Citlali's signature weapon wasn't that good. And the reason I said that, by the way, was because I did calcs. I just didn't feel the need to like make a graphic and show them on screen, because this is something that if you understand already, and like this is well known if you like look at any like guide for Citlali, is that most people will say that Citlali's signature weapon is basically a side grade to Thrilling Tales, with the main upside at Citlali C0 being that this gives her more shielding, right? And also gives you a little bit of rotation flexibility that Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers doesn't offer. That is a factor too. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't go into the full depth of this in the video because I didn't want to spend 10 years yapping about a constellation, right? Also, I forgot to bring up the chat. Where's my button? There's my button. Hello. Oh yeah. Actually, real quick, I have a pinned comment. In this live stream. I swear to you, if you guys go, this is not like I have a title in this proving you wrong, because I think this is a learning opportunity, right? This is a learning opportunity for trying to show that yes, in my experience, I have gone out of my way to do many a calculation and many instances of actual testing in game, which is part of what we're doing here today, to see the effect of constellations and weapons and how they actually affect your ability to clear Abyss. Yes, constellations have an effect. 5-star weapons have an effect, especially compounding. But on an individual level, how much effect they actually have very depends. And anytime, especially when I've like compared and contrasted the effect of any one thing, but even when I'm comparing and contrasting the compounding factor of all of them, which is what we're doing today, where we are going to test and compare powering down things crazily, right? In order to, we are testing the extreme of a very significant stupid extreme that you wouldn't actually do simply like I'm making my characters worse than they would be at C0, or significantly worse than they can be at C0, and that's the calcs I'm going to show. The point is to learn from this, right? And to illustrate my point, because people don't believe me apparently because of the fact that I purposely am wishy-washy with my statements, because I don't like saying things that are guaranteed, because this game is way too contextual. Every person's account is different. Like, my Genshin account is not relatable. Why? Because it's not your Genshin account. Like, it doesn't matter that I've necessarily spent money. Like, the fact that I've played for, if you've played only for a year, and I have played for 3 years straight, that makes my Genshin account far more unrelatable than any amount of money spent, realistically, unless we're talking extremes. But, like, my point is, every Genshin account is unrelatable to another. There's too many contextual factors going on in this game with your personal choices, your personal desires, what you enjoy in the game, yada yada. My point with this is that people seem to have a feel that constellations oftentimes do more than they do, okay? And when I have actually tested things in game, like I know from paper, you see like a really significant increase of a constellation or whatever 5-star effect on paper, increasing damage a bunch, and or C1 Citlali increasing, it makes your charge attacks on your Scoffier get 50k versus 20k or whatever, and that's a large perceptual difference. But the actual like difference in practice and your ability to clear the game's content is not significant, right? And that's the actual metric in game, right? There's no actual metric other than your ability to clear. Clearing faster is just for your own personal satisfaction, right? And if you want to get constellations and high investment things for your personal satisfaction, that's fine. That's part of the reason I like having high investment things. It's why I like my screen of mistakes. As much as I think this is a screen of mistakes, I do like my screen of mistakes so much. It gives me options. And like, also, one of the least relatable things on my account, by the way, unironically, I strongly feel is fab weapons. Like having a lot of options for fab weapons and having a lot of options for like different configurations of builds to make fab weapons work and make like high energy builds work. Like 3 years of artifact farming is more unrelatable than anything almost. Anyways, my point is, this is meant to be a learning opportunity. Do not go to those. I'm not even going to show the comments because one, there's multiple people. This is not any one individual person. 2, their feedback was genuine, even if their feedback was flawed, in my opinion, or from a bad place of, it kind of felt like a bad faith argument that some of them were making. I think it was coming from a genuine place, and the point is like to learn from this as a general sentiment of response, not to be like, I'm not calling you to action to go and defend me. I do not need you to get angry on my behalf. I do not need you to go and hate on them. If I go and see you purposely seeking out these people and hating on them in the comments, I will ban you. Because if you go and hate on them because you feel the need to get angry on my behalf, I will ban you because you annoy me more than they annoy me. Okay? Don't do that. Okay? That's what I'm saying. If you go and brigade them when I am not asking you to do that, I will smite you. Do not do that, okay? I only feel the need to say that because this is the internet, and people tend to do that when someone that, like, if you like me for whatever reason, like, thanks, I appreciate that, but, like, I am not asking you to do that, okay? I'm specifically asking you not to do that, even if you feel the desire to. Don't. It's a bad monkey brain temptation of yours if you feel the need to do that. You don't know who I'm talking about? That's good. You shouldn't. So, anyways, the plan is to use the same exact team, but have them heavily powered down. And that includes, so I'm going to outline specifically my plan for powering down the fact that I have C2 Farina, which, by the way, because, so let's outline like what these constellations are doing in this team context when I am using them. So notably, they're as far as 5 stars, there's a number of things we have to talk about. We have to talk about what C1 and C2 Farina do. We have to talk about what Citlali's signature weapon versus TDDS does in conjunction with Citlali C1. And then we also have to talk about like putting a 5-star weapon on Escoffier. And I have some calcs to back up this. This is a video game? Why do people take everything so seriously? Everyone can have a different opinion. Because these people were just trying to claim, like, I'm sorry, these people are trying to say I am saying things that were misleading in the video. And I don't think I said a single thing that was misleading in the video. What I said in the video was that Citlali's signature weapon wasn't actually that good, and I said that I was confident I could clear without, like, constellations on Farina, without constellations on Citlali. That's what I said. And that's what we're going to prove today, right? So that's what we're doing. What, are you streaming? Yes, because I think it's valuable to have feedback. Oh, I'm getting distracted already. I've also enjoyed your content with lens of dolphin content with caveats, and that's what I try to be clear about. Exactly, right? Like, my goal in my content is to have a silly idea. Like, I'm not trying to present my stuff as guide content on purpose. I don't generally respond to these comments. I like let people have these comments because, like, I get why they feel this way. But like I kind of get minorly annoyed when I see people saying thanks for making a guide kind of thing. Like, oh, thanks for making a guide about DPS Escoffier or on-field DPS Escoffier. It's like, that's not what I was. It's like, I'm just trying to do a silly idea, and I'm showing the things I have on my account, and I'm giving my explanation on why I'm choosing to do the things I'm doing on my account, and in a way that hopefully lets you understand your options that you could also do on your account. Like, I'm trying to give you information based on my decision making for my account in order for you to also hopefully make your own decisions on how to approach the same thing in your account. So I am trying to be like guide-ish, but like, not really. I'm not trying to present it as a guide. I'm just trying to provide information that is somewhat helpful. Like, I'm trying to bridge that gap. So anyways, what about with a 4-star team? No artifacts, no cons, and no hands? I mean, I have a special thing to solidify my point at the end, which some people might like. Some people might think it's just a little petty. I'm sorry, but I think it's funny. I did it. I have the footage ready. I'm just going to tease it now. I have something funny I did. Anyways, to try to solidify my point, which is kind of in line with your joke there. Anywho's, So where to get started? So Farina, first of all, is actually a simpler one to explain powering down. First of all, C1 Farina. Yes, there is the dynamic of Farina C1 and C2 gets you the damage bonus faster, but Escoffier's healing is already like so ideal with Farina that getting damage bonus faster from C1 and C2 isn't really that relevant. I'm not saying it makes no difference, but it really isn't that relevant in this team context, thankfully, because in teams where that is relevant, that's not something I can like really properly show in game. I can only you just have to take me at my word for it in those contexts because of the fact that I played a non C2 Farina for months before activating. Anyways, that's why I don't activate these constellations, like, and tend to test a million teams before activating constellations. I've done this on stream many times. Is because like I want to be able to say the things I'm saying and stand by them with my own without having to like put footage and whatever. So anyways, you see Farina has this is the build I have chosen on Farina, which, yes, this is excessively far. This is an excessive amount of powering down. We'll get into it. So anyways, point with the damage bonus being like getting the damage bonus faster is that is of extremely minor benefit in this team. So that makes it a lot simpler, thankfully, in this team to try to functionally turn these constellations off, since I can't directly turn them off. So Farina's damage increase is, and I'll show calcs for this. Farina's damage increase from C is basically what this is doing in C2. She should be maxing out this buff. So she's getting a whole bunch of extra HP. Yes, that's increasing Farina's damage. That's the main thing her C2 is doing in this team. C1 is extra fanfare, and that is 25% more damage bonus, right? So how do I turn off 25% damage bonus? Well, conveniently, Citlali in this team gives 40% damage. Also, yeah, in practice, like, because of the front-loaded nature, C1's average value can be functionally more than 25% damage bonus. Like, it's more safe to pretend it's like 30 to 35%, I'd say, for many teams. In this team, doesn't matter, because my point is to turn off Farina C1, to remove the 25-30% of damage bonus, I just turned off 4-piece scroll and Citlali, right? So now I have less damage bonus. Like, I have less damage bonus than I would with a C0 Farina, right? With Citlali on scroll. Again, we'll show calcs in this in the future. So, no scroll on Citlali is to turn off Farina C1. Cool. And then C2 Farina is turned off by nature of LOL. Let's just remove all of her damage. I've also chosen, because of the fact that people were like, oh, your Escoffier is too strong. You're using a 5-star weapon. Okay, well, we'll use Fav with more energy than I need on a Fav build, with an attack circlet, with Golden Troop rather than MH. So I'm using a very, again, I'll show calcs. I'm using a very non-optimal build with a cryo goblet, not even taking advantage of an attack goblet, right? I'm using a very non-optimal build on Escoffier herself, and I removed Noblesse from Candace. Also, Candace is not really powered down. Candace is doing technically, I think, slightly more damage in this build because I put her back on Emblem. But okay, whoop-de-doo. Yes, Candace is doing slightly more damage than she was in the original video. But notably, I removed Noblesse so that I removed buffing from Escoffier. So I'm powering down Escoffier too. No tenacity on Farina, right? So that's 40% less attack for the team. And then Farina, I essentially removed everything but a crit rate circlet and then a feather. So no flower because that's HP. ER timepiece, it left the ER timepiece. No set bonuses, no goblet, just the ER feather basically with a flat HP roll and 1 minimum HP percent roll with ER here. So, and on Fav, and this is the build. So what a quality build. Anyways, that's Farina power down. I'll show the calcs in a minute so you can see this. So these builds, by the way, from my calcs, which is the reason I'm going to show the calcs is to show you, because what I cannot show you is I cannot show you a actual C0 Farina on my account with the exact artifacts I have, right? I can't show you my exact account with the C0 Farina. So all I can do is show you the calcs with the C0 Farina and then show you how it compares to the powered down build. These builds are like doing half damage than what I like, or less than, like, Farina's build is doing less than half damage with C2, is doing less than half damage of what I could have her deal with like a 4-piece Golden Troop build, because I have some really good 4-piece Golden Troop artifacts, but I'll show them in a second. Candace, yeah, whatever. The only thing I did was change her to Emblem to remove the Noblesse buff. That's just a slightly powered down Escoffier. Citlali, so to turn off C1, I cannot completely turn it off, so C1 Citlali, buffs your on-fielder based on a percentage of her EM. This is a flat buff. So the more damage bonus you have and the more crit you have, the stronger this is. So that's part of why, also, powering down Escoffier. The more power down Escoffier is, the less crit she has, less damage bonus she has, right? We don't have a scroll buff, whatever. The less C1 Citlali is doing. But also, I just removed all the EM. So she has her Ascension EM and 1 extra EM roll. I did build her for crit, and the reason I built her for crit with just 2-piece scroll is 1 energy. But I had the artifacts available for it, and just want to make sure she can burst consistently, and then I built her for crit just because a side effect of also, remember, Citlali has her passive, right? This 1200% EM scaling. Like, this is what can make her burst when you have an EM build on her. Crit for, or not even on a non-crit, get towards like 100k damage. Like, she has not completely negligible damage contribution. So I chose to, because of the fact that I removed all her EM, which kills her EM scaling damage, but she still has some attack scaling damage, I chose to build her for a little bit of crit, right? But still enough energy to burst consistently. And then, of course, we'll be using TDDS, the 3-star weapon, instead of Sackfrag's Brain, instead of Starcaller's Watch, right? So, to show calcs. So, these are relatively... So what I have set up is 6 different tabs here. This took a while to do. And what I have set up here is, like, even this tab... Shush. So, like, the first tab here is a hypothetical, like, normal build on like a C0 Citlali, and this is to compare the Citlali damage. So Citlali is the simplest one, right? Because Citlali was, I removed 4-piece scroll, so this one is the build I'm actually going to be using in video today. This is a hypothetical what her damage would be at C0 with her signature weapon. We can also toggle to whatever. So you can see with Frina buff up, with the Frina Z0, again, this is what I can't show you because I can't directly turn off the constellations. Well, that's why I'm showing the calcs instead. So what we're looking at here, by the way, is the average damage numbers, because I just want to show the difference in the damage contribution for the builds I have versus a hypothetical, the exact artifacts I have, but if I didn't have the constellations, right? So you can see Citlali's burst damage is hypothetical, or not hypothetical. Citlali's burst damage, if I had C0, and this is with default 10% red shred, level 100 enemies, by the way, is 45,000 damage average. And this is on a normal EM build in this exact team, right? And then her skill damage is getting a little bit of damage as well. So the yellow numbers is what to look at here, basically, because remember, the crit rate is changing, so the average is important, not the specific crit. So yeah, this is with all buffs up, with a hypothetical C0 tenacity on Frina, Candace on Noblesse, 45k damage, versus the Citlali that is powered down, so removing the EM to turn off Citlali C1, and this is the actual team I'll be using, right? So this is now what I'll actually be using with power down. I forgot to put R5, well, that doesn't matter because Citlali is not being buffed by her own Thrilling Tales. So you can see, with a crit build, she's doing an average of 27,000. So she's doing like half damage of what she would do if she was C0. And also, for what it's worth, let's compare, I guess, because Citlali's signature weapon is increasing her personal damage. So let's compare if I had C0 without her signature weapon. This... And theoretically, the ideal for powering down characters would be to get them to perform equivalent to what they would perform with C0 and whatever. So, hey, there you go. So, removing Citlali's signature weapon from her, if I had C0 Citlali with no signature weapon, her average damage contribution is 30,000 from burst. It's actually very close. So my powered down Citlali is going to perform, with a crit build, is going to perform extremely close to what if I had C0 Citlali with no signature weapon, right? So, yeah. But there you go. So Citlali is very simple. So Frina. So now this is full power Frina. Again, by the way, I did double check. I made sure all the buffs were here. I made sure all the talents levels match what I actually have in game. So Frina, I put her point of comparison. By the way, this is not the build. This Frina build, this full power Frina build, is not what I was using in my video. I was using functionally a powered down Frina build because I cared more about buffing Escoffier than Frina's damage. I had an arm 4-piece tenacity with, I think the same, technically she had 100% crit rate, I think, but like 130 crit damage. So anyways, if I was actually going to, like, I think most people would, you know, put a stronger Frina build. And if you're using Fav and a double Hydro team and a Escoffier, you're probably doing HP timepiece. So I put the exact artifacts in here in the calculator as if I had a C0 Frina, enabled all the buffs up, you know, again, the hypothetical if I had C0. And you can see Farina's damage is doing, so her skill damage is the main thing we're looking at, of course. 32,000 for the Octopus, 17,000, 44,000. My power down Farina, so this is with C2, so this is what we're actually using, removing all the buffs and whatever, but having C2, you know, with all the constellation, or the constellations getting, is doing 10,000, 13,000, 7,000, 18,000. So my power down C2 Farina is doing less than half of the damage that I could do at C0. Okay? That's my point in doing this. I want to show, like, yep, my Farina is doing less than half of the damage than I could make her do at C0. And this isn't even, like, factoring the fact that I could put, like, 5-star. I could min-max Farina more in a double Hydro team, right? I'm just leaving her on a Fav because that's what I prefer anyways. So my Farina is doing less than half of the damage. And now Escoffier is the most complicated one to show some things on. So this is the exact Escoffier build I used in the video with attack % goblet on 4-piece Marshal's A Hunter. So you can see, and then she's slightly overcapped in crit rate, whoop-de-doo. So if I had C0 Farina, right, I guess we should do... actually, no, that's fine. I'll show the difference between Star Colors Watch and TDDS for this team context. Also without Citlali C1, we may as well do that here. But anyways, before we do that, though, so C0 characters, but, you know, tenacity, noblesse buff, whatever. So this is very similar to what I was using in the video, but the difference is if I didn't have C1 Citlali, didn't have C1, C2 Farina, right? Staff of Homa is obviously not enabled, but all the other buffs are up. And you can see Escoffier with Homa and whatever is dealing 27,000. This is without the by the way, the Abyss buff factored in. I'll show you the difference the Abyss buff makes. The Abyss buff is for her skill damage specifically, is doing slightly more than, very slightly more than what level 90 and crowning her skill would do. So, like, the Abyss buff is not irrelevant, is my point. But the fact that my Escoffier is not fully invested functionally makes the Abyss buff not super relevant. For this context. Anyways, for the comparison we're doing, right? And the variables, that variable would be the same between these things. Anyways, so you can see we're comparing, so the Hydro infusion damage, right? So without C1 Citlali, obviously we're not hitting the 50k charge attacks or whatever like you saw in the video, and of course not. But if I use my full powered build, but with C0 Citlali, C0 Farina, you know, we still get, like, you know, 10k, 23k charge attacks, Hydro infused charge attacks, and then our skill damage is still 27k, burst damage is still 137,000, right? And she's doing so much damage output constantly, it's still very healthy amount of damage, right? Obviously a lot lower, but this would be what we're looking at with C0 characters, right? I was not trying to say that C1 Citlali was doing nothing. The reason I talked about it is because it was doing something, especially perceptually, but it also was, like, C1 Citlali adds, like, I'm gonna throw a number of like 300k DPR to Escoffier. It's like not meaningless. That's why I was talking about it in the video. But anyways, we'll go and show like TDDS instead of Starcaller here with C0 characters as well. But you can see, right, that's what the damage looks like. Here's my power down Escoffier that I'm gonna be using this video, doing 16k damage and 6,000 to 10,000 damage in the infusion and 16k damage on Frozen Parfait. I guess if we turn on Golden Troop, it'd be something higher, but Golden Troop, normally we're going to be on field with her. It's an on-fielding Escoffier team, 65k burst damage. Yeah, this is with the buffs that I actually have available, but factoring in the fact that everything is powered down, right? So you can see, again, the entire team is nerfed insanely, right? I am making Escoffier do way less damage than she could if I had C0 characters. I am making Citlali, well, Citlali is doing about the same damage, but I am making Farina, turning off, you know, Farina C1 by removing scroll, turning off Farina C2's damage increase. I mean, again, I'm far overcorrecting. I'm reducing Farina's damage far more than necessary. I am reducing Escoffier's damage more than necessary, and my point is to prove that I'm proving this extreme. This seems like an extreme, right? This seems extreme that I'd power down to this level. But I'm going to clear, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to clear my first attempt. I might... Okay, I'm also going to still use the DAI team. If I screw up some gameplay in the DAI team and have a really bad clear on the first side, maybe I'll have to retry once or twice. Maybe. But with, like, this extreme of power down... like, and my point with this is that, like, yeah, this team is going to work with C0 characters, right? So, anyways, before we exit the screen here, to show real quick... so what Citlali is C1, Citlali is not completely off, technically, but you can see... Wow, look how much damage that's doing. Like, it's technically adding a very minor amount, right? So C1 Citlali is as close to off as it possibly could be. It's functionally off. If we go into the hypothetical C0 characters page, and we change from Starcaller Watch, so we can watch if we just remove Starcaller Watch and don't add TTDS at all. 27k on the skill, 137 on burst, 23,000 charge attack. Change to TTDS, and you can see, so again, we're just completely removing that. You know, we fall to 24,000 on Frozen Parfait, 121, 20,000 there, but let's add the TTDS buff, and bam, you can see TTDS is doing more than what Citlali's signature weapon is. To be clear, Citlali's signature weapon with C1 Citlali does do more than what TTDS does, especially when you factor in the fact that this team can do shorter rotations. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm not saying, but this is an example of like why I strongly feel that Citlali's signature weapon really is kind of irrelevant, mostly outside of like the shorter rotation context or rotation flexibility context. It's mostly irrelevant unless you have C1 Citlali. But anyways, I guess hypothetically, if we have C1 Citlali, so let's see what TTDS does with C1 Citlali. So with my C1 Citlali build. And here we'll add in my C2 Farina, or C1 Farina. C2 Farina doesn't affect the damage bonus here. Okay, everything else is the same. So this is more like what I was actually doing in the video. And you can see that's why this is with Thrilling Tales. The numbers on the charge attack jump to 37,000, skill jumps to 42,000, burst jumps to 166,000, because that's flat damage buff, go burr. If we change, so if we look at like the charge attack damage, and like the skill damage in particular, 37, 42. Let's change to her signature weapon. It should be better, but not crazily so, if I recall. Not R5, that'd be a bit stupid. Make sure it's on. See, 38,000, 42,000. It's like this. It's the same. even with C1 Citlali, this is why I said it's the same in the video, and like I'm trying. There's claims that I'm being misleading. I'm being misleading about the fact that it's the same. I did the calcs, guys. I did them. I just did them. I just showed you them live. I also checked this before I recorded the video because I had the thought of, before I say this, let's double check just in case my intuition is wrong. And my intuition wasn't wrong. It's the same. The difference is that it's a little bit better uptime in particular because this team can actually do faster rotations. I think most people probably aren't doing faster rotations this team because they probably don't have their Farina built to be able to do faster rotations. But there you go. Yep. So let's go. I think that's enough of a comparison. For damage calcs wise, let's go to the Abyss. So the exact power down builds, just a quick reminder in case you didn't see them. So C1 Farina off, C2 Farina functionally off. Again, more than off. I'm doing half the damage on Farina that I could do at C0. Candace on remove noblesse, gave her emblem. Technically, she'll do slightly more damage. Candace's damage is not insane, but it's something. And C1 Citlali removed by removing all of her EM and also removing the damage bonus and removing a bunch of crit from Escoffier. Means that C1 Citlali, even the fact that I nerfed Escoffier so much means even if C1 Citlali like still had her full EM, she would she would be still getting reduced value from C1 Citlali. But C1 Citlali is basically completely off. So this is essentially the same as C0 Citlali, other than the fact that my shield is going to be paper thin, and that might matter slightly. We'll see. On a Fab build, 4-piece Golden Troop, obviously not ideal. Again, Escoffier, way powered down. Let's go. And yeah, this is all just because people don't believe me, apparently, when I say something like, yes, I could clear. Like, and I don't know, like I'm not, again, we can do, I can go put the characters back on their powered up builds to do like the full comparison, but you can also just go watch the the video. You can just go watch the video. And we can directly see what the constellations are doing when I do have fully powered builds, right? When I am min-maxing the builds. But like, it shouldn't crazily affect my ability to clear. And also, again, I could use a better team on the first. I could clear so much faster in the first side if I wanted to use Arlecchino or something. I don't know if you knew, but Arlecchino does more damage than Dia, especially against like with the Shevers team against the Tulpa. Like, you can clear the Tulpa. There's a lot of strategies to clear the Tulpa pretty fast. I'm gonna use Dia because I like playing this team. I'm good at playing this team. Why did I choose Bennett there? And I enjoy playing it. Yada yada. It's also nice for this chamber because this chamber can be annoying without some kind of damage nullification, especially if you dare bring Bennett to this chamber. Ooh. But anyways, that's why I'm using that team, because I like it, and it's convenient, and it's also the exact same team, by the way. This is the exact same team I used in the video. So if we're trying to compare clear times, but again, like comparing the clear times directly to that video is also a nuance of like what my gameplay was like. Also minor things like the Abyss buffs. I have actually already done an Abyss run for the little minor surprise I have for you later today. I did this morning when I couldn't fall asleep, and I know that the Abyss buffs are garbage. I think the Abyss buffs are really kind of bad compared to what they were when I recorded that video, but that's not that significant a factor anyways. It doesn't really matter. Citlali. So because we have Citlali and TDDS, by the way, obviously we're going to want to do like Farina into Candace, into Citlali, into Escoffier. I also will probably maybe do a little bit of, well, yeah, I don't think we really have to do that. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if I even have to retry. That's the real question. Will I even have to do a single retry here? I think it depends on how bad my gameplay is. On the first side in particular. The team is quite easy to play, so I do not think I will have to retry because of gameplay on the second side as much. Not that there's like zero gameplay nuance, obviously, but I don't think I think I'll have to retry only because I screw up something like this team, like that. Well, what? I blame my yapping, okay? That's not a problem with the Escoffier team. What did I screw up there? Oh my god. I like how I said I was good at playing this team and then I somehow just didn't get Yai full burst value. What did I... How? It's been a while since I did that. Oh, are you serious? Okay. What? I killed it! Oh my god. This is going to be one of the worst clears I've had with this team. I call baloney. I killed the stupid thing for it. Okay. Well, I am good at playing this team. Not today. I've gotten 50-second clears, by the way, with this team. So me not having it dead at, what, 8 minutes and 50 seconds here is pretty bad. That was a pretty bad clear with that. Like, that was 20 seconds worse than I could clear. Ugh. Dia is C3, not C4. It's a strong Dia, to be clear. I'm not trying to say it's not a strong Dia or heavily invested Dia. I'm just saying I could clear that chamber much faster with other teams. Performance anxiety, apparently, yeah. Oh my god. What? Immediately interrupted. Watch me fail immediately. Stop breathing it, please. Okay, here we probably just go to Citlali. Okay. Now you butthole. Oh, come on. I know I can kill that without having to have it do that. Alright. If we have to redo this, it's because of that mechanic. No problem. No problem. What am I wrong about? I mean, you're not wrong, I think, specifically about anything. The title is just a simple title because I couldn't think of what I wanted to title the video, other than, like, the title was about something that, you know, was like, okay, people are claiming I'm being misleading about the value of constellations and whatever. So, okay, let's test the extreme of powering down things to a stupid degree. Sure, we'll choose a useless buff for the second team. Can I power down things to the extreme? Like powering down meaningfully worse than I could do with if I had C0 characters. That's the point of doing the kills. And can I still clear? And I can. And that was with, again, a 20-second worse clear than I know I can do on this team in the first side, right? Also, no energy on this chamber is going to screw my ability. Wow, okay. I screwed up everything. I really did screw up everything. Good job, Shivers. Do this. Okay, well, this is also going to be one of my worst clears against this thing, too. We'll see. My record on this thing, by the way, with this team is at 840. So a minute and 20 seconds. This is not going to be a minute and 20 second clear, I can tell you. Hey, Lee, I need to power down Dia. True. This could be cleared so much better. This was like, it's a bad clear in particular in this team when I have to climb the second pillar. Like normally I can, oops, get out of your state. Normally I can kill this thing without having to climb the second pillar. So that was that again. Terrible clear actually for that team. I am not playing this team well today. But will it matter? It might. I don't know. That was a bad enough clear that I am not actually confident I'm going to do this here. Alright, do this. Oops, on the loose. I don't know if it actually makes sense to do that. Okay, we're gonna try preventing this from teleporting. A little tricksy with burst animations to do that. Did you just get a shield? Oh, you have to be kidding me. Oh my god. Ah, crap. Well, how did I not keep it frozen? What happened there? I, like, actually called baloney. Okay, well, that's... no. No. I actually called baloney on that. I got ganked by the game, somehow not keeping it frozen. What? Like, what? What? Candace blunt attack? Oh, you might be right. Okay, if it was Candace that triggered Shatter against it, that might have been why. Okay, skill issue then, I guess. Oh, that's really funny. So oopsies, I failed. But I also, even with that going wrong, if I had cleared not shite on this side, it wouldn't have been a problem. So anyways, again, it's fine. It's fine that I have to optimize a little bit here, I guess, is my point. With how ridiculously I powered down things. I wasn't saying it was going to be completely trivial. No, I didn't clear in first try. Oh well, what do you do? Not having energy to start here is really bad. What? What happened? Did I not get energy particles from Shivers there?
Emerge right here. You asked for it right now.
I was waiting for my Dia to get her burst back, and she just didn't get her burst. What?
Stop right there.
Oh, that was...
Right here. Emerge. Drop your weapon. Control breathing.
I don't know if I got scrolled up there.
I'm always watching. Right here. Right now.
Nope.
Look alive. Ha! Lots off.
Bad. 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 Bad gameplay.
Right here. Emerge. Right
I blame not having my energy, which, to be clear, is bad gameplay from the first chamber.
Look at the flash. Start. Emerge.
Let's see. Do this.
Sight to behold. Right now. Drop your weapon. Huh. You asked for it.
We're gonna have to do second pillar again. Ugh. Terrible gameplay. Oops.
Stronger.
Exit. Pressing Eon's on by accident. And I really would like if I played better today on that team, but oh well. The actual build team is struggling more. Yeah, mostly because of my own issues, but alright. Let's not fuddle the way out this time.
Get to work. Suffer the wrath of Eden. Up to the freezer. Pinnacle of excellence. Fulfill our pact. You two. Touch. Adapt the frosting. At first, the flavor. Do your work. Time to shine. Strike up. Show no mercy.
Okay. Don't use Candace E on it this time.
Pinnacle of excellence.
That's the theory for what happened at least.
Yes. Let the world come alive. We shall prevail. Get to work. You two. Touch. Off to the freezer. Goose on the loose.
You actual way. I'm mad about that one. I hate way ups.
Show no feet.
This is not a problem with the damage in this team. This is a problem with the frickin' way ups. That was the biggest troll I've seen from a way up, actually. Are you actually serious? that was a not using noblesse on Candace difference. What you want was funny, guys? The surprise at the end is gonna make you laugh because again, I did a clear, and the context for me doing this clear, I already did a clear with this team technically before recording, but I did it somewhere where you would think it would be harder. You'll see the footage later. Oh my god! And to be clear, I think the reason that I cleared it easier before was because I had a better situation on this side. Like not having energy up on Dia or Yai at the start here is real rough. That just makes me lose a bunch of time. I also didn't have Fab on Eon's on, which is bad too.
Right now. Emerge. Final warning. Start them. Right now.
This entire team's dynamic is screwed up by not having a little bit of energy at the start. Which is my bad. Should have thought about that more on the first chamber.
Right here. Justice will prevail.
But it's fine. Struggling is part of the low investment experience.
Emerge. Right now. Right here. Lots off. Emerge. Right now. here. Emerge. You're dead meat. A sight to behold. Right here. Right now. Right here. Hands where I can see 'em. Fuck 'em up. Hi. Drop your weapons. Right now.
I thought that was going to be a bit better. It wasn't really that much better. 2 seconds better. Wow. Why are people talking about Skirk being... Skirk is not mid. Skirk is perfectly fine. Get frozen, sir? No! Aw, crap, man. I shattered him. Uh-oh. No, kill it, kill it. Okay, got it. 10 seconds to spare. Told you it was fine. Just freaking way out problems. There you go. Let me see fun team comps with Skirk. Oh, I plan to. All the fun I can think of using her with is in non-Escoffier teams. I think she'll be strong in Escoffier teams, go figure. But I don't think making her clear without having to think is that interesting. So I don't know. I think there's a bunch of weird gameplay nuance to Skirk that'll let her have fun teams. I'm quite optimistic about her. So yeah. Anyways, people are just upset. I mean, people are justifiably upset about them, releasing a best in slot support for Skirk that makes a big difference. The patch before, but fundamentally on a low investment versus high investment level, it's not that different from like other characters. Like the difference of if you don't have C6 Chevreuse, C6 Eons on for a Veressa team, for example, Veressa's going to fall off to a not crazily different degree that Skirk falls off from. So, anyways.
Right here. Emerge. Right here. Final warning.
Good. Wrong character. Good job, Brain. Yep.
You asked for it.
Yeah.
I'm always watching. Emerge. Right now. Emerge. Justice will prevail. Let's get it on. Ha! Right now. Drop your weapon. Control breathing. You're dead meat. Emerge. Right now. You asked for it. Look alive.
Oop, did that barely.
Right here. You asked for it.
I wish I had Fav on Eons on, but oh well. It didn't crazily affect things. Yeah, we're fine. Let's see what happens here. Are these things hydro resistant? I feel like they might be. Maybe they're not. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Oh, I did dash there.
Show no mercy. Citlali, Papa, a dash of frosting. A burst of flavor.
These things are a lot more annoying with the weaker team, I will say that. The extra front-loaded damage clearing this way faster is a difference maker, for sure.
Get to work. Suffer the wrath of each. A little amuse-bouche. The pinnacle of excellence. Yeah. Ha. Blade. Yeah. Yeah. My name, Echoing Song. Showing you. Show no mercy. Citlali, off to the freezer. A burst of flavor. Do your work.
Barely. Not bad. Should probably kill. Good. I think we'll be fine here. Do that there. Isn't that problematic though? Goose on the loose. Oh, did I forget to show what the difference of? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So, like I cleared with time to spare. Obviously, the second chamber is a little scuffed, way out of problems. But like, I don't know. What else more can I do to prove my point that like the constellations don't actually matter for your ability to clear than that? Like, I could use a stronger team on the first side. I could have played the team I use on the first side better. You could have better Abyss Blessings. You could, I don't know, right? Like, I digress at this point. I don't think I need to continue yapping about this again. For any new people here, do not go and seek out the comments. I will be checking the replies to those comments in that discussion thread. If I see you arbitrarily hating on those people, when I specifically said not to, because the point of this was a learning opportunity today, the point was me standing by my words and being like, yeah, Citlali's signature weapon, Citlali's C1 aren't necessary. Anyways, obviously, if I go and use the full power builds, I'm going to clear way easier. But that's like why I could make a statement like that. Is like, I've tested these things individually and I can individually understand their effect and the game's mechanics well enough to make statements like, yeah, I can clear this abyss without having to, you know, I don't know. So like, I just leave them, you know, I leave C1s at all fully powered in my videos because it's more fun. So I don't know. And like, I just try to show how I'm having fun in the video game and then also be informative at the same time. But then being accused of being misleading. And the funny part is, by the way, in the past, when I was powering down characters more often, on a very intentional level to try to like doing, like, I mean, this was pre-Citlali, but, you know, I would have been doing things like powering down Citlali for the video to use in this Candace team, and then I clear in the video like that. But then I would get comments complaining about me powering down characters and saying things like, oh, you can't power down characters, even for like things that are as simple as just damage increases. And like, so I don't know. Anyways, I feel like I've been caught in a catch-22 as a content creator where like, no matter what I do, there's going to be people who complain about something or take something I say the completely wrong way. And obviously I could try to say things differently, but I very purposely tried to not make my videos be 5 years of yapping about something that isn't directly about the video topic. So, like, in some ways they're winning in my mind, because I don't want that to be people's, like, I'm not going to be able to, like, fix everyone's impression. I can't fix the whole community's impression of how they overvalue constellations, even if I know the constellations aren't necessary, right? I can't fix the entire community's impression of the overvaluing of constellations. And how much, and not even, it's not even just the overvaluing of constellations, it's the undervaluing of things like Fav. It's the undervaluing of like how much of an effect just playing the game for 3 years and having diverse options for artifacts has on an account. It's undervaluing, or it's overvaluing like damage numbers on screen versus like damage being more distributed and just balanced out. It's like, so I don't know, right? I would absolutely love, yes, if constellations were just toggleable, because if constellations were toggleable, I just leave everything C0, and then use them in that video with whatever builds that made sense, outside of when I specifically choose to turn one on for a video concept, right? And like, I've gotten things like C1 Citlali because I wanted it for fun. C2 Farina I got because I wanted it for fun too. I thought there would be fun utility. There is times where C2 Farina uniquely enables a slightly different team that otherwise wouldn't be possible, and I disclose that when that's the case, when I use that purposely. And like I didn't have to spend any top ups, by the way, if you get C2 Farina. I just barely wished like Sumeru year. I don't feel like going to the full history, but like I had Welkins going, yes. Like so, like Welkins are great. If you're playing daily, anyways, you can afford the $5. I do think Welkins makes sense, but obviously Welkins you can say doesn't make sense because they're the bait that gets you to there's like the what gets you to spend more money in the game. Yada yada. Point is, I basically only bought Welkins like for the Sumeru year from like from Alhaitham banner to Farina release. I got Baiju, and let me double check this actually. I think I got Baiju since Alhaitham's release. That was the year, right? Alhaitham's release was the beginning of the year when Farina released, right? So I didn't pull Dia. I got my first Dia on a 50-50 loss. I kind of wish I had pulled Dia directly. Yeah, I got Baiju. And I didn't pull another character, and I got Baiju, and then I continued wishing, if I recall, for Kave copies. Didn't go for Linny. Went for Nuvilet. Like, this was a long stretch of time. It doesn't look like that much when you're, like, seeing these character lists, but this was a long enough stretch of time that with Welkins going on, I had, like, 50,000 Primo Gems something when Farina came around. And that was with me. So I had a 50-50 loss that happened on Baiju banner after getting Baiju when I was wishing for Kave dupes, if I recall, and I chose to save that guarantee all the way to Nuvilet banner. Got Nuvilet, and then 150-50 for Farina, 150-50 for C1 Farina, paying for C2 Farina. I believe it took pity going to pity twice, and arguably getting C2 Farina indirectly caused me to have to spend a little bit of money to try to get C6 Farzan on the Shan Yun banner, because that was an unexpected, unplanned situation. So, like, arguably, I indirectly had to spend money in the future, and it wasn't a correct decision, arguably, to get C2 Farina. But my point is, like, I don't know. Am I supposed to just power down my characters all the time, 100% of the time? I kind of do, inherently. Like, my Farina's inherently powered down, because, like, I like using Fav on her, and I like using Tenacity on her now. Like, my favorite Farina build is, that for the vast majority of teams I use, is... Blap. And, like, I'm trying to improve the Tenacity build a little bit, but, like, at the same time, it doesn't really matter. Is this build. She's already got a power down always. So, I don't know. Anyways, saw a video from a Japanese YouTuber the other day where she played Mualani, Citlali, Farina, Escoffier in a team. It looks satisfying to play. Yeah, I actually really liked Mualani. Mualani is one of the ones that, like, she's strong enough that even though Escoffier, Farina, Citlali is very much wheelchair comp, and you can kind of use whatever Hydra on fielder, right? You could use Nuvilet, obviously. Mualani was enjoyable to play. Like, it's probably the most enjoyable Mualani team. It's the most strong and enjoyable Mualani team I played that wasn't a vaporized team, which is not too surprising. I actually enjoyed a different team variant a little bit more. So... Which, you know what, we can go do that. We can go do that quick. I want to end this video because I actually want to just do Zenless story today, but I don't feel like streaming that. Yeah, you can stay on that. Let's fix your build. I believe I used this before. This one. And... Here we go. And that. And this. That. There we go. This is my normal... Oh, wait, there's signature weapon. This is my normal Citlali build. Bam. I think Mualani should be on her correct build for this context. Yep. She should be fine. So, fun little TTDS build. So... This is actually my favorite one, and why? The reason I like this one, even though this is a lot weaker of a team, is because, and yes, Farina still is on Tenacity here, obviously. Farina should be on Golden Troop in a Mualani team. It'll buff Escoffier, whatever. But I don't actually think I've tried this team with Fab Escoffier. I think I tried this team before when I had non-Fab Escoffier, but anyways. Where's Citlali? There she is. Obviously, Citlali is a little bit... because Mualani scales on HP, Citlali's signature weapon actually does something for Mualani, whereas TTDS would do nothing. Again, I think most people... This is a kind of effect like... why I kind of like having some of these 5-star weapons is it lets me use these, you know, much weaker teams, but have more options for these weaker teams to do compelling damage that I oftentimes end up enjoying them more. Because they, like, this is a team that versus doing Escoffier, Farina, Citlali, so this is not the team. This team, a lot of the damage just feels like Escoffier, Farina, right? But the variant that I enjoyed, what was it? I think it was, well, actually, I don't remember what it was. Oops. I forgot what it was. It was with Candace, I know that. Who did I use other than Candace? Did I use Citlali? Was it solo cryo Citlali? No, it was without Farina. Oh yeah, that's what it was. It was a non-Farina variant. That's what it was. It was an Escoffier team without Farina with Mulanni. Yeah. And like this team changed the dynamic such that one, notably Citlali or Escoffier doesn't need a burst in this team, right? So you can actually hear. I'll actually, because of the fact that Escoffier won't burst, I will switch her to her higher damage build. There you go. Add Homa. So this is not enough ER to burst consistently in this team, but she'll do a bunch more damage, and that's fine because you don't need to burst consistently in this team. But this removing Farina from the context obviously lowers Mulanni's damage a little bit, quite a lot, and lowers Escoffier's damage, and you remove Farina's damage. This team is obviously a worse team with Candace versus Farina, but I kind of liked it more, just because of the fact that it felt more like Mulanni was doing the work rather than just Escoffier Farina. So I don't know, and having better options for artifacts, having things like Citlali's signature weapon, Citlali C1, helps me helps like the difference between this team and the Farina variant not feel as significant, if that makes sense. So yeah. Anyways, what we should technically do in this team, because we have TDDS on Mulanni, is we just go from Mulanni into Escoffier, and then we can, we do Mulanni into Escoffier into Citlali EQ. Hopefully that will be enough Hydro to trigger scroll. How did I rotate this before? I don't remember. We could also just like forgo it on the first rotation. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. We'll do this to end off the stream for funsies. But yeah, I don't know. I mentioned this before in the stream. I kind of feel like what's weird to me is like I get comments on occasion, right, of being like, this only worked because of the constellations all the time randomly. This video was a little bit different because they are specifically being accused of being misleading. When the point of me making this is I don't think I was being misleading. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I haven't ever accidentally said something misleading, made a mistake in the moment because like I didn't properly explain my brain yap thoughts enough, but or just being stupid. But I do not think I made a misleading claim in the Escoffier DPS video on on-field DPS. So anyways, let's do a clear with this for funsies. But I think the reason there's more of this response of, the only reason you are you're underestimating what the constellations do, whatever, or the only reason you can clear yada yada is because of your constellations, is because people are thinking like I'm willing to bet the people that think I need those constellations to do what I did in that video, to clear or whatever, or to have compelling enough damage to enjoy the team or to recommend the team, right, are also people that think Escoffier is a balanced character. Right. I think this is something people are like, I think I have a, you butthole. I think we have a higher instance of people saying, it's the constellations of this content creator is using that is completely doing the work, rather than the actual thing, which is that Escoffier is a broken arse character. That's fine. There's some enjoyment to having a broken arse character. But I feel like people are scapegoating a little bit. Like, is that the right word? I don't know. Maybe that's not the right word. But it feels to me like people are attributing things to the wrong thing. Like, it's Escoffier being ridiculous. And I don't know. Anyways. Genshin at some level is just math and people are mathematically illiterate. Yeah, which is like, but it's like frustrating for me because like that's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use like me as a middleman between like, yeah, I have a lot of Genshin knowledge, whatever, theory crafting, yada yada. I can do the calcs, I can show you the damage numbers, but then I want to show things in practice and like be the bridge between that, right? And because that's where I've gotten my enjoyment out of Genshin just in general personally, is like not specifically completely theory crafting. I don't live in spreadsheets. I'm not Jeff. I'm not completely casual, obviously. I'm a weird in between, and that's what I try to show in my content. I try to be the weird in between and embrace that. I don't know. I want my R1 Triple Crown Arlecchino to do more than 120k. I don't know what context you're operating within, but I don't know. You were probably not invested enough into your supports, is my guess, Ducky. Need to do that technically, that's fine. So, do I have Hydro? Did I trigger scroll? I hope I triggered scroll. I did a normal attack early. Good job, Brain. I did it again. Wow. My gameplay today is just not there. Wow. I don't know. Anyways, my goal is just like been to have fun in the video game, but also try to be informative at the same time. And I don't know. As time is going on, it kind of feels like I should maybe just focus on the fun and stop trying to inform people of things, because if in trying to be informative, people just like don't believe what I'm saying, like that Citlali signature weapon is actually not doing that good, even with Citlali C1. I double hit E. I need to like actually restart and have real gameplay. Anyways. But yeah, play the game and for it to be challenging, getting cons is missing out on characters, making the game too easy. I agree to an extent, but like, why did I just start attacking slower? What is happening in my brain? Ow. Oh, I need to show the thing, the surprise. I almost forgot about the surprise. Remind me after I do this Abyss run. Come on. What was I saying? Like it's why I tend towards like using teams that, you know, are weaker, but just I enjoy the whatever nuances to why they play it. Like why I really enjoy this team. This team is not as strong as an Arlecchino team. Or an Arlecchino Shivers team against the Tulpa in particular, if we're comparing that. No, target this. Okay. I don't know if I actually had skills up. I did. Good. You are being such a butthole. Teleport again, aren't you? No? Okay. God, terrible clears. To be clear, I regret something. Like I almost assure you, C2 Shalodin, I would leave off 100% of the time, essentially. I definitely regret C2 Shalodin in hindsight. I know I said in the C2 Shalodin video I didn't completely regret it, and I don't, because it has been fun in some circumstances. But man, I would just prefer to have it off 99% of the time. So, anyways, Citlali's signature isn't that good to begin with, IMO? Yeah, exactly. Like, Citlali's signature is primarily valuable just for rotation flexibility, or circumstances like buffing Hydra units slightly more. It's not something most people should specifically try to get. I wanted it for min-maxing Citlali C1. And, yeah. So that's why I got it. Supposed to smack the mini Tulpas. If you don't kill the Tulpas, the big Tulpa will charge up and go into a even damage resistant mode where he also hits a lot harder. So it's definitely ideal. One of the benefits in that Yai... Why? Brain. One of the benefits in that Yai team is... Oh, wow, my gameplay today. One of the benefits in that Yai team is Yai, generally speaking, will auto-target them randomly enough that they will be dead. I should have maybe waited for... Yeah, that's fine. This is some Mualani gameplay of all time. You can see, like, that was bad gameplay, but the team still plays in an enjoyable way without Farina. Like, I don't know, this is an enjoyable Mualani team to get satisfying damage from her, to make her feel like she's doing a very meaningful amount of the damage contribution, but still, you know, it doesn't feel as wheelchairy, and that makes that team feel more engaging to me. But again, maybe I wouldn't feel that way without Citlali C1, right? Yada yada. So, and that's fine. I'm not gonna make a video on that team because of that. But there's other videos there's other cool teams I enjoy on my account that I haven't made videos on because they're just like absolutely impossible to meaningfully evaluate or recommend because they're way too high a 5-star investment. The best example of this is still probably the Nilu, Shalonen, Moika, Citlali team. If you've seen me use that in live streams, that team has too many constellations that have too many compounding effects that even if I tried to power down, it's like super hard to actually properly even try to power down things. Like, it just is not a team that I could ever possibly recommend, at least without, especially Kiev Suit. Like, I think Kiev Suit is almost necessary for the team. I don't think C1 Moika is, but like the conjunction of the different constellations and the 5-star weapons I have available for that team makes it feel so much better than it would at like C0, right? That I am confident of. And I'm not gonna make a video about that, despite the fact that I like think that that team plays in a really satisfying way. It just is like way too not relatable. Like, at the end of the day. Alright, well, that was a better clear, but not great. You tried Dia Melt the Scofier. It's only slightly worse than the Farina Vaporize team. I gotta try it more. I've tried it very briefly off camera, but it doesn't surprise me that it's only slightly worse. So, Candace C6 necessary? Oh no, not for this team, not at all. And I don't know if actually I'm triggering scroll properly here. I'd have to go test outside of Abyss. I think I am, based on the damage I'm seeing. It's possible I might not be. It's gonna be some big damage. Oh, you butthole. That's a skill issue, to be clear. I know how to keep it from teleporting. Like, I could have purposely factored that in, and I did not. Oh, yeah, that happens. Oh wait, I forgot you can... It's been a while since I seriously played Mualani. I forgot though that you could... Oh, okay, well, that's fine. This is, again, Mualani gameplay of all time. What is it saying? I forgot that you can do another normal attack. If you have that circumstance where enemy dies when you're like mid Sharky Bite, you can just Sharky Bite again with a new enemy. You don't have to run into them. That was my bad. Yeah, you can stop him from teleporting by go behind his eye. So if I walked behind his eye before doing Mualani Burst, I was in a kind of weird position for it. I should have been able to get Mualani Burst to hit him, right? For sure. Burst damage, fine.
Right here. Emerge. Right here. You asked for it. Control breathing. Start them. They're dead meat.
11 drops from the weekly boss and non-RS Scofier mats. Sounds like a skill issue. No. Sounds like weekly bosses are annoying.
Emerge. Right here. Emerge.
I think I powerless Dia, didn't I? Yep.
Get it on. Right now.
Oh well. When I have C4D in the future, that'll probably help my energy situation a little bit. Again, normally I use Fav on Eonson. The only reason Fav is not on Eonson right now is because I put it on Escoffier. So, well, right now Escoffier is on Homa, of course, but...
I'm always watching. Right now. Right here. Buckle up. You're dead meat.
Wing. Adding that for 5.7 is the first time thing? Yeah, the first time you do the boss, you'll get... I think this might be just like beating it in story, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, the first time you beat the boss, apparently you get one of each drop type, which is minor, but hey, it's a benefit, so I don't know.
You. Grant us your bless. Fulfill our pact. Citlali, eat papa, let's ride.
Brain, what are you doing? I missed the charge attack completely. Oh my god.
A little amuse boost. The pinnacle. Get to work. You two. Time set.
I really feel like they should make a noblesse artifact set, by the way. That buffs HP. Like, I think it's kind of silly that they haven't done that. I feel like I didn't get scroll there. Who's on the loose? Right. Like why? What is the purpose? What's the purpose? Not buffing Nuvilette, I guess, yeah. But it would be really nice if I could have a set that did like a team-wide HP buff of 20%, right? Please stop running away. Okay, well, but like having the ability to have like Candace on a 4-piece HP noblesse would be cool. So, all right. Anyway, let me show the surprise. The surprise was that I also cleared Abyss with the same exact teams with the powered down builds first. And funnily enough, I think this took less time than it just took when I streamed it a little bit ago. On my phone at like 7 a.m. in the morning when I was tired. Like I figured out at 7 a.m. in the morning how I wanted to power them down. And so with the same builds I used before, but I did it on my phone. I had 36 start on my phone, and it for some reason was easier with the same exact teams. It was easier than when I just did it there. Well, not really easier. It was harder in some ways because mobile has some things. And I think there's some funny things we can see in the footage. And I don't know. I think we're not going to watch everything, to be clear, because it's like 18 minutes. I'm going to skip past some of the things. But there's some funny things that are just interesting here. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, I don't know, maybe there's some people like, but most Genshin players are mobile players, and mobile is just like an inherent 10% DPS downgrade, and I agree. But even with a ridiculously powered down team and a 10% debuff by playing on mobile, is fine. That's a bit loud. This is just me showing that they're using the same builds, whatever. You can see the same builds, a Escoffier build, whatever. It's the same builds. You'll be able to tell by the damage being dealt. And look at that crunchy footage. Alright, start Abyss. Same buffs. It was the same day, like I said, it was this morning. What was my clear here? I don't remember if I cleared in the first... I think I cleared in the first attempt here. Oh, look at that. I had a 1 minute clear on mobile. For some reason, on mobile, I cleared with the Dia team way better than I did in this stream because my brain's stupid. But anyways. On-field DPS Gene at some point. I actually should revisit. Or I should do that because I got C4 Gene recently. C4 Gene can buff Gene's damage, so... it's just shield breaking phase. I can skip that. By the way, part of the reason this works as okay as it does on mobile is because so much of the team's damage just automatically plays itself. Like there's not actually a crazy amount of player input. That's like Escoffier teams are some of the easiest teams to play in the game. Like there's not a crazy amount of difference in like whether or not like get an optimal amount of like normal and charge attacks out kind of thing, right? So anyways, what's the context for the title? You're gonna have to rewind the stream if you want the context. I'm not gonna explain the whole thing again. Sorry. Right, the gameplay, yeah, is straightforward enough that this is a pretty... Escoffier teams are probably very attractive to use on mobile. That's kind of my point. But anyways. Wow, look, I cleared the seahorse. But yeah, the next chamber is kind of interesting. So in particular, I think this instance is really funny. So climbing the pillars is, I would say, a little bit harder on mobile without, like, you know, a unit that can just automatically climb up them, of course, right? But watch what happens, because there's something that's funny that I realized. This footage you're gonna see is the literal first time I ever tried to climb the pillars with Eons on mobile. I'd never tried this before. But I am very used to climbing the pillars with Eons on my desktop, right? So like I know how to do it. It's just like the inputs are touchscreen and fat fingering and whatever, right? But there's something that I found that is more annoying to do on mobile than climbing the pillars that interferes with the ability to deal with the pillars, and you're gonna see what it is. It's really funny, in my opinion. I don't know why I used my Yai burst. That was a bit stupid, but that was a good jump. I flubbed there, and I was like, ah, crap. Oh wait, oh, this one I think I just failed. Yeah, I think this one I just failed. Yeah, okay, not that one. So that was, sorry, that was the, was that the first one? Yeah, that was the first one. I just failed that one. This one I think was the interesting one. And mobile is definitely a bit trickier to do that. Not surprising. Oh, why did I do that? I feel like I skipped something. I feel like I skipped a pillar base. Oh, was it there? No, this was the one we just saw where I flubbed. Okay. Rewind. Sorry. That was the one we just saw. Okay. Sorry. But can the rewind tools work better? Oh no, that wasn't the first attack. Okay. Wait, maybe I didn't get footage of this. Oh shoot, I don't know if I got footage of this. Maybe I'm misremembering, because I did a practice run before actually recording on my phone. Anyways, okay, let's just go to the successful. It definitely took some retries against the automaton. Automaton was tricksy. But what I found was just okay. Did I clear first try on this? Yeah, I did. Okay, so I cleared first try after I beat the automaton properly. What I found. Okay, there we go. Go to the pillar phase. What I found was that gliding between the pillars was more annoying than climbing up the pillars. It was more annoying to glide properly on mobile than it was to climb up the pillars, which is so stupid. Like I think, yeah, I flubbed it there. I flubbed it there, and I was like, oh frick. Oh well, just climb up again. That's the problem I found. I found it was more annoying to glide properly on mobile than it was to climb the godforsaken pillars, which I feel is representative of the flaw of mobile interfaces to some degree, but also a flaw of how you do the gliding action. Anyways, it was just funny to me. It was just funny. So you can see this is a pretty okay clear. Yeah, clear in about clear just similar to what I did today, but on mobile. Yeah, a little bit worse.
Boring. Isn't there anything else more interesting?
Eon's on lower accurate wide glide when you can climb it. True. And to be clear, I have flubbed the glide on my on PC before, right? And had to climb again. But it's just funny. It's so much easier to glide on PC than it is to do the climbing, and it feels a lot harder to glide on mobile than it does to do the climbing. So it's yeah, climbing is faster. Wouldn't climbing be faster? Yeah, obviously I don't even think I was trying to make sure it didn't teleport here. I was just I was just whacking. Oh no, I did do a little bit of rotating around it. Okay. I couldn't remember if I did or not. Might teleport here again. Yeah, it did. Okay. Yeah, this is funny, by the way, because this is what I was talking about. Why I was slightly surprised when I, did this earlier on my PC, and I struggled against the Wayab because I cleared on the first try. Like, not the first try in the first half, obviously. Obviously, I had to retry the automaton because mobile problems, but I cleared the Wayab on the first try with this team on mobile. So for some reason, it was actually... So as much as I was saying it's hard to play on mobile, for whatever reason, today, it was harder to play on PC, for that chamber, at least. So, I think I had a bad clear in this chamber. Yeah, I cleared in a minute and 10 seconds. So yeah, mobile is better. You heard it here. No, it's slightly just minor stupid mistakes I made on my gameplay today on PC, but it was exact same builds, exact same buffs and everything, right? So I wonder how much by the way, like the 25,000 physical damage you're seeing, yeah, the 23,447, that's the Abyss Blessing. I have no idea how much damage that's actually contributing here. I am not going to go to the effort of checking that. Normally, Abyss Blessings aren't that relevant. Like these do true damage based on like healing, I believe is what's happening here. But in team context, the lower investment you go, the lower investment your team. So this is obviously higher, really powered down. So this is simulating like a really low investment team, with the same characters but much lower investment builds or whatever, like terrible builds. Bote's a mobile player, yeah, because he's insane. So the point is, lower investment teams, the Abyss Blessing that does like true damage can actually matter a lot more, because it's doing a larger percentage of your team's damage contribution, right? And that's a good thing. Like, I think it's a good thing that Abyss Blessings benefit weaker teams more than it benefits higher power teams, right? Seems like a little less than 10k DPS, 3-second cooldown. Yeah, we can double check. We're doing 23,447, so assuming we're proccing it constantly, we can check what the cooldown is. Oh, did I fail? Oh, I did fail. Oh yeah, I remember I failed. Wait, was I gonna fail? I feel like I might have restarted there when I didn't have to. I feel like I might have been able to burst there and clear. I don't think I had to do that. That's funny. 7 a.m. brain problems. I do think I cleared at 6:59 technically, by the way. But again, mobile problems is what I'd blame. Or bad clear on the first side. I don't know what the clear was on the first side. I don't know. I cleared this with time to spare today. Much more time to spare than I cleared on mobile. So this chamber was definitely harder on mobile, I think. You have 6:59 on the clock, but still 3-starred. Because that happens. But anyways. But 7 a.m. like that isn't a normal human time. It's not normal for me. Close to media player. It's definitely not normal to me. What brain? Blessing. There we go. Character triggers cryo-related reaction. A shockwave will be released to the opponent's position, dealing true damage. This will be triggered once every 4 seconds. Oh, it's cryo-related reactions. Okay. So assuming I'm triggering this every 4 seconds, which I probably was, how much DPS is this contributing? 23,447 divided by... You could build for... That was physical damage, right? So I think that means you can do physical red shred. Or no, it's... Never mind. Sorry, I lied. It's true damage. True damage doesn't... True damage ignores, I think. Wait, does it? I actually don't know. I've never specifically optimized around the true damage things. I'm not sure if it's affected by physical red shred. But anyways, 23,447 divided by 4 is 5,800. So about 6,000 DPS is what this was contributing, which is so like in the second chamber is the highest DPS check, and if I recall, it's about a 44k DPS check, but that's averaged out between both chambers. I'm not actually sure what this specific chamber is. Also, this specific chamber is a little bit weird because you have like extra advantages. My point is, so that's providing like, you know, 13-ish%. So we'll just say 10%. It's providing about 10% of the damage you need if you're triggering it constantly. It's providing about 10% of the damage you need, which is something, right? And the lower investment your team is, the more important that might be. So it's kind of cool. I think it's good. It does ignore rest. That's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah, it should be basically at most about 6k DPS. Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got. I don't really have much more to yap about. I figured I could keep this short. I've still somehow made this an hour and a half. My goal was to keep this around 45 minutes, and so this is literally double what I expected it was going to be, because that be my brain. But I don't know if anyone else has something I should check quick. I can do that. I don't know if I actually wanted to do that. Ah, frick. No, I didn't want to do that. Ah, crap. Because it's a new week. Oh. Brain. Okay, well. I probably should be spending this on Leylands, but we're gonna go get a good crit damage circlet guaranteed from the Spork domain. Why? And yes, I'm aware that this artifact set is not her best artifact set. That's fine. I want a universal option for her, particularly because I plan to do burst DPS builds, or use her in a burst DPS playstyle. It's not that much worse than MH, and I don't want to always use her for the Frina, so yeah. Spend them on Leylands. I have like 5 weeks to do Leylands. It should be fine. Should be fine. The Sig weapon change to make MH even better is cosmically hilarious. Yup. I thought, like, they also... So, another effect of... that is happening a little bit with... wow. Hey, wow, look, there's how it performs with C1 Citlali fully powered. Crazy. Well, not fully, because I didn't put her on MH. Actually, I'm going to put you back on Fav. But... Anyways. What was the thing? Wow. Thanks. Wonderful. Anyways, pretty sure if you use a crit rate weapon, her set is just always better. Not really. I mean, so yes, kind of, but now you have like actually 20% of wiggle room. If you use her signature weapon, you have 20% of crit rate wiggle room. If you're using Jade Cutter, which is one of her better weapons, or you are using Haran, I would say yes, which Haran and Jade Cutter seem to be her second best 5-star weapons. Miss Splitter also might be the same there. So Miss Splitter means MH will be better, of course. Haran means that most likely her signature set is better, unless you have some really, really specific, like very attack percent and crit damage heavy substats in your MH pieces, right? And Jade Cutter should just definitely make her signature set better, right? But I want her signature set for not having her be tied to Frina and for burst DPS playstyle utility. So, do I like tomatoes? Not really. I don't know why I'm playing this. I don't hate this team or anything, by the way, but I think my conclusion, it's kind of annoying that I got, like, seeing that response from multiple people. Like, again, there was multiple comments. Is like when I made the video and I specifically presented the video from the get-go of like, I think Escoffier can be great. I think Escoffier can be a fun crit DPS, right? Or sorry, melt DPS. Brain. What's wrong with my brain? And I said that right away in the video. I put it in the thumbnail because, like, I think the actual most fun thing to do with her as a main DPS, on-field DPS, whatever, is to do melt DPSing with her. Like, if you want a simple-to-play team, I think doing infusion shenanigans with Candace or Chungyun it's not unfun or anything. But it just feels like any other Escoffier team with Farina, mostly, right? When you actually, you know, at least when you don't power down things crazily, it's obviously a little bit harder to play, or a little bit weaker when you power down things to half of what they perform at C0. So, anyways, point being, as far as Voldemort teams go, I think I'd rather play this team, but with Mualani. So, you know, I'll do a little Mualani gameplay in Overworld for the first time in a while. Crazy. Yeah. Anyways. Should I actually bother using this though? I should mess around with using a different weapon on her. What weapon though? This? I think Wizard, realistically, well, I don't know. 2 of the buffs are useless for. I feel like obviously this weapon, but I don't want to level this weapon. This weapon for if you're trying to maximize Mualani's damage itself. Obviously, this is the best weapon for a Mualani Escoffier team. Need a poll for tomatoes? Fine. Tomatoes. There you go. I'm not putting any effort in that poll. It's just tomatoes, yes, no. My vote is definitely no. But I also, like, if you put any food on a poll, my vote is no. Almost any food. The vast majority of food in existence is no for me. So, you know, bye, bunny. Anyways, I don't know. I don't, like... Sorry, I'm just, like, waffling here of, like, what freaking weapon do I use? Like, this weapon just, like, is way over capped in crit rate because of cryo resonance. Like, it's one thing to be slightly over capped in crit rate, but it's still, like, good because LOL 64% HP at R5, but, I don't know. But, like, this weapon is minorly better than TDDS, technically. Right? Because it does a little bit more HP, and I don't know, you know, this is the funnier option. I'm gonna use this. Why not? It also looks nice on her, so, you know, why not? I don't have to think about stupid things like putting, or getting TTS buff to Escoffier. Oops, what happened to the camera there? Oh, I love Natlan auto switching. What? I used my burst. How did I... Okay, well, that's new information to me. Apparently, you can use your burst. I'm pretty sure I used my burst, right? But I'm pretty sure... Well, freaking... Yay, Local Legends. I agree. I'm definitely soulless. What was I saying? Oh, I'm pretty sure I used my burst there, but I guess she doesn't get immunity in, like, initial frames of her burst. Or just it didn't actually activate the burst, or, you know, latency, whatever weird garbage in Genshin. Consider doing achievement hunting. It's not usually my thing. I don't usually enjoy it that much, but I don't know, maybe in the future. Anyway, 73% yes for tomatoes. All right, that's not surprising. I mean, I think tomatoes tend to be a fairly appreciated food. I'm not going to do a full run through again, but yeah, maybe, well, okay. I mean, maybe if I use really overpowered team, I can. Actually, I don't think I want to clear with this team with the last chamber though. But I just want to see what this does in the second chamber with the drinking horn. Is my point. See if I enjoy the drinking horn more. Yeah, the fact that they're so, like, I don't know. I think my favorite for the Hydro Cryo context, Escoffier feels like a much more balanced character when you don't have Farina. She's still broken, but when you don't have Farina in the team, but you're still using, you know, other compelling characters that do good damage, right? It feels good. Obviously, if you're trying to, like, make Ayato work on field without Farina Escoffier combo, I imagine Ayato's damage feels like it almost does nothing without that. So, you know. That's a different question. Depends on the character, I think. But Mualani feels compelling enough without Farina. I don't feel a need to use her in a Escoffier team, is my point, personally. Where am I struggling with though? Citlali. So let's just here we can rotate. We don't know. Let's make sure we can get scroll buff properly and do like that. Saludo was a chef. He'd make videos like people overestimating the impact of spices and can cucumber be a main? Yeah, of course. Good job, Brain. It's fine. Needed to power down Arlequin. Definitely on purpose. Why am I... Just go... Just, Brain, it doesn't matter. I don't need a dash cancel on this team. I thought I wasn't going to get hit by that. Lost my 50-50 to C1. Wonder if I should keep pulling Escofia or Navia. Or save from a week or, like, you know. Probably save your guarantee. Guarantees being saved is, like, one of the best things you can do for yourself. Like you know how I yapped about, you know, getting C2 Farina? Part of the reason I was able to do that was because I saved a guarantee all the freaking way from Baiju to Nubillet. So I saved a guarantee for Nubillet, still was able to get Nubillet and C2 Farina with save Primo Gems, right? Not saying it again, not saying that was the objectively correct decision or anything, but saving guarantees can be quite powerful when you're picky with where you choose to use them. Stop targeting that. There you go. So that'd be my vote. But depends how badly you want certain characters, obviously. But what damage did I do on that? I think I didn't crit. Sad. Citlali will almost assuredly have a rerun within one patch of Moika. What did she even say with that line? Really, sir? Does this target you? Hey, it does. Little mooge booge. Is that actually what you're saying? Who's on the loose? Was that 60k physical damage? Let's go. Really? There we go. Yeah, probably 5.8. Consensus on a Scovie AC2? I mean, it's a flat damage buff. It's probably pretty decent. But, like... Wait, does her flat damage buff only work in her Hydro Cryo teams or not? Because I know the C1 only works in Hydro Cryo teams and only affects Cryo. So, like, I think her C1's kind of lame. It's too restrictive, but... Strong in some specific context, but, like... Fairly restricted. Designs lately in Genshin lacking? Like kit design, or you mean character, art design, visual design, whatever? What did I... What? Brain? Did I not press Q? I like brains. What? Brain. Brain. What are you... Brain. I climbed better on mobile. I'm not used to how long Arlecchino rotations are with Eons on. I'm so used to short Arlecchino rotations. Anyways. A little abused moves, yeah. Art design? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a particularly big fan of Escofia's design. I do like Skirt's design. She looks like a space lady. She looks like a Star Rock character, which is probably on purpose. Why? Brain. Just waste all of her skill uptime, because, yeah, okay, good job, Brain. I appreciate you sometimes. 50k hit from Candace, by the way. Thanks. Didn't crit. Wonderful. Kill it without it. Aww. Obviously, this team does not have the constant Hydro application from Frina, so a little bit trickier to keep the way out frozen. I definitely think I could have, but I failed because that's what I am, a failure. Wait. You know, something better than Bennett depends on the team. On average, I'd say no. On a holistic level, Bennett has more obvious things where he is the best, more teams where he is the best attack buffer. But also you can play them together. So, yeah. I didn't get an attack buff, did I? From Shivers, specifically. I ram that. More concerned about my ability to live here than my damage output. Uh-huh. Told you. Dia better. Official. Yeah. This is why you build Shivers for damage. God dang it. Oh, are you serious? I refuse. I'm not going to redo this. I refuse. Skill issue indeed. How long will it take for players to start putting a supportive set on Escoffier? I don't know. The problem is, like, it still makes a lot more sense to put her on a damage build and put Farina on Tenacity. Like, everyone that's doing any calcs on Escoffier teams has Farina on Tenacity because it's meaningfully better. So, anyways. On such a hack for side 1, indeed. So is Dia. But Dia requires more investment than Wanyo. Alright, let's try this. I forgot about this one for some reason. Don't think I got scroll there. Didn't have crit rate buff up. Honestly, I'm leaning towards just using the battle pass weapon and having way over cap crit rate. You know what I got? Actually, it'd be maybe. I don't think I'm gonna test this stream, but I might see how in this team, a two-piece build performs. Maybe I will test it. Maybe that's what I said I was gonna end the stream, but I'll use the battle pass weapon, right? And use the battle pass weapon and then just change her to not 4-piece codex. Yeah, I did indeed say this was going to be a 30-minute stream, but I gave up after I hit an hour and a half. Please, Geyser. Why does this seem so much worse? Why does it seem so much worse? I think it's a lot worse without TDDS. Sad. I mean, which just tells you that Scopia is doing meaningful damage, obviously. Duh. Still feels more balanced than with Farina, where, yeah, but anyways. Okay, so TDDS probably preferable over that weapon, because I don't think it was adding consistent enough value. But this weapon could be interesting. I don't feel like actually looking through my artifacts and doing gearing, but I think 2-piece HP, 2-piece combos in general, could be meaningfully better than Codex with the Battle Pass weapon in that team context. But anyways, TDDS it is, and just, I don't know, pass along. Just do Mualani into Escoffier, into Candace. I think, I don't know, does, let me, I will test this at least. Does this team properly get scroll buff up consistently? If I do that rotation. Or semi-consistently, at least. Thrilling Tales Mualani? Yeah, because it's a pretty good damage weapon option for her. And you can give Thrilling Tales buff to Escoffier. While still doing good damage. Alright. Yeah, I did. Cool. Alright. So, yeah. I think I prefer Thrilling Tales then. But, like, yeah, I do have other damage options for her. It's just, you know, like, Prototype Amber, Ring of Yaksha technically would be better for Mualani's personal damage, right? Trying to make a crit weapon work would be better, yada yada. I don't know. So Jeff might pass out if he sees this. I think he suggested it in his Escoffier video. Anyways, here, I'll at least end the stream before 2 hours. We're gonna end with artifact farming and poems only. So Jeff really likes this team. Oh, did he try this team? Like the non-Farina variant? I like it a lot too. It just feels good. Has well-balanced damage. Feels like Mulan is doing something. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's actually one of my favorite, as far as the Hydro Cryo teams go. Maybe is my favorite Hydro Cryo team right now for Escoffier. And then everything else with Escoffier is just the million other places she has utility in. Show me Yai build. Can't anymore, but 2-piece attack, 2-piece attack, 94 crit rate, 210 crit damage, 211, with 2300 attack total. Yes, it's an extremely good build. She's, if you want to compare on Akasha, she's like rank 500 on Raiko leaderboards. Which is very high. For a 2-piece build especially. Anyways, Blamp. I freaking forgot about bosses. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Why am I in Inazuma, you ask? I want more emblem artifacts. I want more emblem artifacts. I want more emblem circlets, in particular. So, yep. Love putting your VODs in the background while I'm at work. See, that's why I stream for 9 hours a day. No, I don't stream that long, but I don't know. I don't know why my brain has the ability to do that sometimes. Like, obviously, I get very tired at the end of 9-hour streams, but like, I don't feel that compelling of a need to take a break or anything in those kinds of streams, usually. Back to Emblem Prison, pretty much. I don't think I'm going to spend very long here, but I'll get bored of it and switch around to different things, I think. Okay. I mean, it would be... it would be very funny to get Hu Tao upgrades. I should consider putting Hu Tao back on Chimenawas, because usually when I'm playing Hu Tao, it's in Chever's teams nowadays, and she has a little bit of sus uptime on 4-piece MH. So, yeah. I haven't tried the triple cryo Hu Tao team yet. Should definitely try that. Hello? These are almost the same artifact. Oh yeah, good job cursing me. Yeah, good job cursing me. I mean, you did kind of curse me with the wrong sets. I don't really need Shimenawas for any particular reason. I'm not against getting Hu Tao upgrades. Shimenawas is Hu Tao's best set in this account. For universality, if I'm not specifically trying to... What is this day? I don't need emblem flowers. I really don't, but, you know, I'll take emblem flowers. I really need circlets. I really need circlets. But, yeah, good job, yes. Yes, would you like to join my future streams and curse me in the future? Because you did a really good job. I appreciate your curse. Yeah, can you curse everyone in the chat? Alright. Do we get any more 4-line pieces? Do I get the circlet I wanted? I'm not gonna bother with that. I mean, it's a hint of what's coming to the next run. Suggestion for the highest Rosario DPS team, physical with a Scofia? Yeah, probably it is a Scofia team, most likely. Particularly if you have Shenhe. I don't know if you noticed, but Shenhe is on, or Shenhe, Rosaria is on a melt build here, and this is not a melt team. Which is to say Rosaria could do more damage. And you can do some physical stuff with it at the same time. Shenhe does physical red shred. Alright. Nope, no circlet. Sad. Alright. What does my Hu Tao Shimenawa HP timepiece look like? It's pretty okay. It's also pretty okay. So 30 CV with whatever. Okay, so this could definitely be better. Definitely could be better. My Hu Tao doesn't really trigger that many reactions, but particularly in the context. So like in the triple cryo team, the idea is Rosaria, Shenhe, Hu Tao, of course. Hu Tao's pyro should overtake pretty quickly, and therefore EM is not necessarily that valuable. But she should be able to get at least a few melts, and I might be able to do melt setups for her burst. So, you know. Alright. Thanks, game. Okay. Started with mineral, so, you know. Okay. I mean, it's like maybe an upgrade. Okay. Interesting. I'll take it. We take 30 CV pieces with a tiny bit of extra attack. Is that better than this? Yeah, it should be. Should be better than that, I think. I don't think the attack percent does that much, but the attack percent, I don't know. The attack percent isn't doing nothing. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll take it. It's more options. We take more options. Electric bonus, huh? Oh yeah, I remember I have that really good circlet. Yeah. Yeah. And I have that circlet too. That's also pretty good. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in this domain in this account. I guess I should try this. Okay. I actually don't have that much XP. I might need to actually... Like, I have a lot of artifacts that I don't necessarily need to keep. Like, look at how many unequipped artifacts I have. Like, Jesus Christ. So, you know, I could solve this XP problem somewhat. Not that. I don't want to throw away that. No. 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 When the hell do I ever need this? I think I used to use this in the past on like a 2-piece for Candace. The time has come and gone for this. And now we get Hu Tao upgrades. 13 crit rate. Told you. Alright, yeah, no, this is just better. I think. I don't know, they actually theoretically are... Oh, frick me. Do I need to... It has more HP. And it has 500... This technically might be an upgrade if it rolls crit rate again. But I don't know if I'm actually going to use it on her. Like, I don't think it's relevant. Okay, frick. I guess I have to look at what Hu Tao's build looks like on this. Okay. So Pyro Goblet. Oh boy. She used to use this Shungling Goblet, and now Shungling is not on that goblet. I mean, we don't care about Shungling. Here, put her on the good Pyro Goblet. Put her on this new piece. Like, the fact that this has more crit damage means I think I would bias towards this one, right? You would think. So let's put her on a crit rate circlet. I do have the one piece that has, you know, 11 or 9.7 crit rate, so I can add 6% crit rate, remove some crit damage, if that makes sense to do. That seems very good. That seems very good. That seems very good. I think this is best. 14 CV. Yeah, this should be best. Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't know which one's best. Probably that one, just from the CV, but maybe this one might be able to compete depending on what our crit ratio looks like. Okay. It's the last line I'm gonna roll here though. Figures. Okay. Well, that could be an upgrade. We'll give it a look in a second. Okay. What does it look like? Yeah. See, I don't. Even if we have like 10% more crit rate in substats from other pieces, I don't think we're in a reality where using a non-crit rate circlet makes sense, right? But just to double check it. Why am I struggling so much? Oh, there it is. All right. I could eke out a tiny bit more crit rate there. And I don't have anything with higher crit rate here yet. Maybe that rolls 15 crit rate. Yeah, like, it's not that far away, but like we only get, the gain is like 20% crit damage for losing a meaningful amount of consistency. Like, I'm just gonna say no, almost guaranteed, unless we live in some weird reality where this rolls 15% crit rate, right? But I think I can safely throw this away. Nope. We do not live in that reality, and we also do not live in the reality where that's an upgrade. Sad. Okay. No real Hu Tao upgrades today, other than the... Well, no, I mean, this. I did think this actually was kind of an upgrade. Actually, frick, I forgot about Cryo Resonance. Oops. Cryo Resonance does fuddle things a little bit, does it not? Because because it means, like, we do this kind of piece, right? Keep that, I think. Keep that. Keep that. Go back to this. I think we just take advantage of Cryo Resonance being... Or no, Cryo Resonance won't do anything, right? Cryo Resonance won't do anything because we're going to overtake. And you have to have Cryo on the enemy for Cryo Resonance to apply. So never mind. Go back to the higher crit piece. Bap, 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 bap. I don't actually think this new timepiece is a better timepiece, but I don't know. It gives bigger crit damage. That's more fun. So also 34,346. I consider this a win for Hu Tao. Let's check that emblem piece. Also, I went over 2 hours. Good job, Brain. Double mineral pieces. All right. We get... I'm gonna 47... I don't even know if it's a possible crit value, but 47.6 crit value. Yup. Told you. Alright. Melt Rosaria will give you bigger screenshot numbers, but physical Rosaria is easier to on-field if you want to do that. Yeah. For sure. I like Melt Rosaria a lot. Escoffier is good for Melt Rosaria, by the way, and so like Escoffier, Bennett, Shungling, or another off-field pyro, plus Rosaria is going to work pretty well. Shenhe is great for Melt Rosaria. Shenhe is great for Freeze Rosaria, if you have her. But you know, I think if you really like Shenhe, if you really like Rosaria, Shenhe and Rosaria together are one of the few contexts where it can make sense, I'd say, to consider Shenhe. Even with the Escoffier team, Shenhe is still a pretty niche unit. But anyways, didn't realize you were gonna stream about the Escoffier vid comments. Yep, I just chose. I don't know. I was motivated to be like, nah. I decided to present it, you know, because I know I ranted a little bit to Tars more negatively about my frustration with some things, and but I don't know if you watched the beginning of this, Tars. I'm guessing you did not, but I chose to use it as a learning opportunity to demonstrate, you know, some damage numbers and like if I hypothetically had C0s, and then showed me clearing with way powered down characters, like powered down to well below what they would be with C0 and still clearing without much of a problem. I had to reset a couple times because of the way-up problems, but anyways. I also cleared first try against the way-up on mobile because, I don't know, brain. Anyways, YouTube must have banned you because nobody sees your comments. Are you sure? I didn't ban you, at least. I don't know. Maybe YouTube did ban you, but I see your comment now, at least. I don't know. Anyways, oh, I didn't do dailies in this account. Ugh. Yeah, what the frick camera? Okay, that was a Zenless camera. Anyways, Strongbox. And then we'll go test Rosaria. Well, sorry, that's Hu Tao in this team instead of Candace. That's the wrong artifact set. Circlets, please. Yep, that's exactly what I meant. Cool. Alright. Okay, let's just go. We need something tanky. I don't want to. Yeah, oh, we can just go to DPS. Zenless today? No, I'm gonna do Zenless story on my own. I don't have the energy to do. Well, I mean, not that like it takes that much energy to do story on stream, but I don't feel like having to commentate what my brain is thinking as I'm doing Zenless story. So, I don't know. I'll probably put thoughts about the Zenless story if they're meaningful in the Discord after. What? And Hu Towers, Shenhe, Escoffier, Rosaria. So, team idea here, of course, is fairly simple. Rosaria, Shenhe, Escoffier get melts after Hu Tao applies in a pyro, but Hu Tao should also get a little bit of melts. Maybe 1 or 2 charge attack melts, optimistically. Maybe only 1. Maybe 0. Either way, it's fine. Like, the idea is to have Hu Tao do decent damage, and then... So this is the idea is on-field Hu Tao instead of Xiangling in this team, right? This team already works really well with Xiangling. It should work well with Hu Tao too, right? With the main nuance being not as much flexibility for, like, quick swappiness, using a second Shenhe skill, using a second Rosaria E is not ideal, but it should probably still work. That's the idea, at least. I think it's going to be worse than the Xiangling variant, though. Stop 20 seconds. Yeah, 19 seconds. Wing. Did you know C6 Alakino is strong?
Unleash! Cryo incarnate! Attack the frosting! Deuce on the loose! Judgment!
Boost on the loose. Okay, we did get 1 melt. I think we got like a 200k charge attack on Hu Tao. Kind of fun. Necessary. Great.
Unleash!
Bring in work instead of Rosaria? Yeah, probably. Just don't expect to get melts. You might get. It might be better for like Hu Tao team damage. Hu Tao's damage specifically. So I could do something like hold skill there with C2 Shenhe, or C1 Shenhe. Yeah, Rosaria energies are a bit higher. Okay. So I haven't liked variants of this in the past pre-Escoffier, but it is, so it works exactly as expected. We get like 1 melt charge attack, I think, and then immediately overtake with Pyro. I think there was like a 90k non-crit we saw there at the end. Burst damage.
Stronger. You asked for it. Eat this. Nice and
No.
Witness my rise. Overrule.
Do N2C? Yeah, I'll try to do that. I don't think it'll really change much, but we can see.
Step aside. Justice will prevail. Lay bare. This is where you overrule. Hands where I can see 'em. Stop right there. Control breathing. On my nice and spicy. Eat this.
Well. How much does the Scovier help polearms only? I mean, polearms only is only already so strong that like it unnecessarily helping, but like Melt Arlecchino teams are meaningfully stronger now. Melt Rosaria teams, non-Melt Rosaria teams are stronger now. So like meaningfully, but like I don't know. Another compelling, off-field damage unit to make for compelling teams in general, just even without the Hydro Cryo context, right? Like, just is a very good and very valuable character for polearms only, and gives a lot higher value to having Shenhe on the account too. So, yep. What are we proving today? Rewind the stream.
Off to the freezer. Judgment.
Sorry,
Shiver.
I don't feel like having that whole yap again, but
Pinnacle of excellence.
thankfully YouTube lets you rewind. Okay, so we're not melting on this thing. I forgot to do N2C by the way, but oh well.
Obey. A little amuse-bouche.
Now,
Goose on the loose.
use on loose. It's fine.
Attack the front. You can't run.
The fact that I'm on cooldown, it's less fine. Alright, yeah, let's,
Unleash.
this.
Cryo incarnate. Manifest.
I want to get a charge attack to win. No, no! Ah! Okay, well. Hu Tao contributed there. Crit, wow.
Stronger. Justice will prevail. Everlasting as the moon.
Bye.
Overrule.
Probably should have saved the burst for these things, but who cares?
Hands where I can see 'em. Control breathing. Start them. Wanted my full attention, did you? This is where
Physical Rosaria depends how much damage. Like Physical Rosaria's best team is gonna be in a Scovier team, but not because of the physical damage, right? So I don't know. Like this team, but with Farina, is gonna be near the highest damage potential physical Rosaria damage, and like you get C6 Rosaria Fizz Red Shred, you get Shenhe Fizz Red Shred, and you get cryo damage amplification. So like, energy on Eon's on, I think like 190-ish.
obey. Pinnacle of excellence. Judgment. Punishment. Do your master's bidding. You will regret this. Take your truth.
I waited a little bit to see if I could get a melt in the burst.
Off to the freezer. Goose on the loose.
Who's on the loose?
Light. Transfigurate.
Yeah. Yeah,
Master's bidding.
I don't love how the energy situation is on this team with
Pinnacle of excellence.
with that instead of shuttling here. We're also getting, you know, less consistent melts like mid rotation. I don't know. It's not unfun. It's quite strong. Obviously, this is a high investment enough team in various forms that it's quite strong. Does compelling damage. Feels good. It has the same problem though, where I think Shuangling is meaningfully better than Hu Tao here. So I don't know. Anyways, what's the sorry about? What do you mean with the sorry? This was not an apology. I mean, because I don't think I said anything incorrect. Not in the specific Escoffier video. I had an abnormally large number of people claiming that I was undervaluing, underselling Constellations, what they're doing. Even though I was like specifically calling out saying things like Citlali C1 doing a lot in that team. That's why I said it did. But then like, oh, no, I'm underselling. I'm saying that Citlali's signature weapon is worse or the same as TTDS. I literally showed calcs earlier where it is. Even in with C1 Citlali, and in a Escoffier team at least, even with C1 Citlali, it was the same. Like, so, like I didn't actually say anything wrong, and I said that I was like also in the video after I cleared with the team, easily, trivially. I was like, yeah, I'm very confident I can clear without Constellations, and I saw a disproportionately higher number of people and upvotes on one of them in particular. Again, the pin message is, hey, don't freaking go and hate on this person. Their feedback was genuine. It's fine. It's not me trying to ask people to get angry on my behalf. So, anyways, yeah, that's that in summary, I guess. Like, they were trying to claim I was being misleading, and I strongly feel I was not. I feel I was saying correct information in that video. And that was the point of this stream, in directly demonstrating my claims, both with, hey, here's a damage calculator, what the performance, like what the damage numbers would be for Escoffier, Citlali even, and Farina with C0 characters and the same artifacts I have. But then also here's a context of let's power down things to being way worse than Farina, or way worse than C0 characters. And I still cleared without that much struggle. Like, I had to do a little bit of retrying. It wasn't completely trivial to clear with characters powered down that much, but like, they were absurdly powered down, right? To well below the level of C0 characters. So I don't know. And my point isn't trying to, like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just trying to use this as a learning opportunity to solidify my point in that, yeah, the constellations actually aren't that important. Like, they're not. People are overvaluing how important they are, and I don't know. And I my theory is the reason that a higher like percentage of people are reacting this way for the Escoffier video, even though I very specifically tried to use teams that were lower investment teams. My favorite team in the video was Pyro Traveler, Escoffier, Bennett, Shenhe, and like I didn't see us like. For all the people complaining about, oh, the constellations or whatever, I didn't see a single person that was like, oh, wow, thanks for showing that Pyro Traveler team. I'm going to play that now. That seems super fun. Not a single one. Not a single one commenting on the fact that the team I liked the most and that I kind of came away recommending the most is without outright saying that, because I don't like saying you have to play this team or anything. People overvalue constellations, and like, yes, I will not stop believing this until I find that it's not true. But the fact of the matter is, most of the time, whenever I've actually tested things, including to the extent of going to the utter extreme of, you know, completely powering down things to a nonsensical level, I can still clear. And I could have used a stronger team. I could have cleared much more trivially if I'd used a stronger team the first side. I don't know. Anyway, so people have weird agendas. I don't know. I don't think it's agendas. I think, like, it's coming from a genuine place, and I think it's a side effect of gotcha mentality and how people get too focused on the damage numbers on screen and whatever, right? It was why I was like not it's why I waffled on considering going for C1 Citlali in the first place, is because I knew for a fact that even though C1 Citlali would have cases, it's a very simple constellation to do the math for, but like it's a constellation that for some cases will do so much that obviously, you know, requires disclaimers and videos being like, this is something I'm doing specifically abusing this constellation, like Kachina, revisiting DPS Kachina with C1 Citlali. I really like having C1 Citlali for doing DPS Kachina. It helps amplify the damage of units that don't have good multipliers by functionally adding another unit's multipliers to their scalings, essentially, is what flat damage buffs are. So, I don't know. Anyways, they're misconstruing things based on bias. I mean, yeah, I agree there, but anyways, they don't deserve any hate or anything. I think they're coming from a genuine place of wanting to see me improve my videos, but like, I don't know what I can improve better for those people that react that way. If they're not, like, because the point of like simplifying my thoughts down to a level of, yeah, I can, this weapon isn't doing, this 5-star weapon, these constellations aren't doing that much, is so that I can just tell you the things without having to do this stupid live stream where I demonstrate calc and show calcs on screen. I don't feel like that's the solution, is spending 5 minutes in the video that is about main DPS of Scofier outlining why C1 Citlali or C1 signature weapon on Citlali, C2 Farina, C1 Farina isn't actually doing an incredible amount. Like I do that work without showing you guys, and like the hope is like people can take me at face value because they understand I know a lot about the game, but they don't want to. Instead, they're just like, constellations. So I don't know. Anyways, what? Oh. Every account is different. They shouldn't expect relatability from content creator or someone else. Yeah, I had that yap earlier. It's literally impossible for any. It doesn't like Zajeff's account. Sorry, Zajeff, you're free to play, and I know that makes people, or you're mostly free to play. You technically bought a battle pass a million years ago, and like, yeah, Zajeff's account. He doesn't spend any money, but you know what he does do? He's played for 5 years since the start of the game. And he has so much knowledge about the game from his experience of doing what he does that, like, his knowledge, the artifacts on his account, whatever, all these various things, quite frankly, makes his experience on his account not relatable to you. His decisions of what he has chosen to do, the specific things he has chosen to spec into for options on his account, makes the experience of playing on his account potentially very different than playing on your account. Every account is different. Like, due to subtle differences in how long they've existed for, how much resin they have spent in particular artifact domains, how much investment they put in particular characters, how many fav weapons do you have, yada yada. Like, no account is relatable to each other, regardless of money being spent. Obviously, some accounts are more relatable to each other than other accounts, but basically no account is the same as each other. This game is too freaking contextual for different decisions, preferences, and also monetary investment. Like, so, anyways, I don't know. Like, and yeah, if you're free to play, you can get constellations. You just have to ignore other characters. Does it make sense to get the constellations? No. And I'm not going to stop saying in my videos that when a constellation doesn't actually do that much. I don't know. It's just weird that I'm getting accused of, like, underselling constellations when I don't think I am, because I've done the work in trying to compare things to get that vibe so I can make those statements with a good degree of confidence. I think I get some of the constellations I get because they enable some more fun options. They enable me to have lower, like not lower investment. They have like teams that without some of the constellations, say DPS Kachina with Citlali. DPS Kachina with Citlali would not make sense without Citlali C1, right? Like, that's why I wanted it, for weird crap like that, is to enable more fun things for me to do, because I think there's some constellations in the game that can be worth it if you're like me and want more team building options kind of thing, but there's not that many constellations that are like that open up options, so I don't know. Anyways, it's just weird. Like, I trying to be in this middle ground of explaining when constellations have some relevance and when they don't, and trying not to have that be a distraction from what the main point of the video is about, which is main DPS Escoffier. And my solution to this problem is to be like, okay, I can show a higher investment team, like, you know, Escoffier with Citlali C1 and with other whatever constellations, and then I can show different ways of main DPSing Escoffier with lower investment, which is what I did. I didn't show specifically the freeze teams. Like, I didn't show Candace. Well, I could have showed a very free-to-play team, I guess. I could have showed Candace, Escoffier. What do you freaking do? It's not going to be very good, because there's frick all for buffers without Farina. I don't even know. It wouldn't be very good. Anyways, point being, like, that's why I showed the melt variants, because I think the melt variants were more fun. On a mechanical level, I enjoyed them more, for the idea of doing main DPS Escoffier. And I didn't even go super in depth. Like, I don't know. So the solution to this problem that I have with people perceiving things in ways that, like, I do not intend at all, and I, like, don't even think matches at all what I was saying, personally. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen anyone specifically say, like, what my wording of things was that made them misunderstand things. Unless I missed something in their replies. But, like, I don't know. I don't know what I said that was wrong. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, I just feel like I would love to say I'm wrong. I'm fine with admitting I was wrong if, you know, Citlali's signature weapon was a lot better, but it's not. It just opens up some flexibility. It's a little bit better because of the flexibility it gives. I don't know. Anyways, what are we disproving? I was disproving claims that I was being misleading about the relevance of constellations. So, I don't know. Ignore them because they ignore your effort? I don't like to ignore things like that. Like, I know it's a minority, like, but should a government ignore black people's concerns because they're a minority of the populace? Should I ignore minority concerns with my content just because they're a minority? Don't go that far with the idea. My point is that I care about the content I'm making, and, like, I'm trying to adapt around what people want, what being entertaining and being informative. And right now, my feeling is with this kind of reaction, like this like whatever catch-22, I do things one way, do things one other way. I kind of feel the only solution is to be less informative in my videos, to not try to give you informative content, instead just be like, I'm going to use these different teams. Yes, there's constellations in this team. Yes, that has an effect. Believe whatever the fuck you want to believe, right? And then I can spend, instead of spending 5 minutes yapping about things in the video, about different options and trying to, you know, bridge that gap and be informative, instead I just play more teams, right? So the Escoffier DPS video, I could have played a Chungyun variant for a freeze team, and the Candace variant with C1 Citlali, and I could have tried, you know, more like a burn melt team, right? There's like at least 2 or 3 more teams I could have included in that video if I either wanted the video to be longer or cut out like some of the yapping about trying to be more informative and explaining my thinking, and instead just use things. So I don't know, right? Yes, I would love to turn cons on and off. That would solve out every problem. I mean, it wouldn't solve every problem because it could create another problem, but people would just be like, the only reason you're able to clear this is just because you're using Farina, or the only way you're clearing this is because you have such good artifacts. The only reason you're able to clear this is because you have a 5-star weapon. Like, I'd start, you know, seeing, like, even if I only have 1 5-star weapon and one other, if it's like Farina, Candace, Citlali, if it's C0 Citlali on TDDS, C0 Farina on Fav, Escoffier on Homa, it'd be like, the team is unplayable without Homa. Like, which obviously it's not. I demonstrated that today. So I don't know, right? Yeah, that 40 CV artifact is the only reason you clear. I don't know. Like unironically, you think I'm joking, but like this is what happens. Like people will start to find other things to say why like this is not doable or relatable. Like, it's just, I don't know, right? And I know for a fact that like I haven't gotten much with the artifacts thing because people have constellations to blame in my case or other high investment things. I don't usually see people complaining about artifacts on my videos, generally speaking. But I know for a fact that Tars has told me before how many of his videos he'd get people complaining about artifact quality being too high. So I don't know. Wow, a little sippy cup. Soda cup. Anyway, take someone's random account and clear with their shitty builds. I mean, yeah, that's what I should do. I should stop having fun on my own damn account and making content that showing you what I'm having fun with on my account. I should just log on to other people's accounts until the day I die. I should, yes, I agree. I should have just stuck to making account fixing videos until the day I die. That is apparently what I should have done. Yes, I plan to make more account fixing videos, or try at least, and see if I can revitalize that series. I shouldn't have stopped making them for as long as I did, but it's hard to be motivated when 2 of them perform so shite, and then distracted by various things in video games. So, I don't know. Yeah, take someone's random account and clear with their shitty builds. That's basically what account fixing is, except for a little bit more in-depth. So, I don't know. Maybe that's what I do, right? Maybe I stop trying to be informative at all, because I can still make my, shenanigans videos. Super Canuck Skirk, right? But I just don't try to be meaningfully informative in the video. I just play the team and different variations of the team, yap about random BS while I play the team, and then, when I'm trying to be informative, if I can just keep informative videos as account fixing videos, and I can keep playing shenanigans as just playing shenanigans videos and not trying to bridge the gap that I'm trying to bridge. But I don't know. I like informative content. I think most people do, yeah, which is the struggle, right? Like how do I be informative but not have people that feel like I'm being misinformative for some reason or another? Like I don't know. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not trying to present my stuff as guide content on purpose. My video on DPS Escoffier is not how to DPS Escoffier, or how to on-field Escoffier. It has part of the video that is meant to be in line with that idea, because I want people to hopefully learn a little bit, and I want to explain my thinking. But it's not meant to specifically be, yes, this is the guide on how you should DPS Escoffier, right? Because I don't present it like that for a reason. So I don't know. A big disclaimer: your damage may vary, which is, I mean, I say that all the time in my videos. Where like, your results will change your account. I think I said it in that video, did I not? Maybe I cut it out. I don't know. I definitely said it while recording, but maybe I cut it out. But I definitely had moments while recording where I was like, "Yep, your experience in your account is going to vary. I don't know what your experience is going to be, but like, yeah, I don't know." Anyways, the only Genshin videos I've ever seen, so I don't know how good or bad you are in comparison to others. I don't know. I'd like to think I'd do a little bit better. I think the vast majority of Genshin creators who consider getting constellations, whatever, right? I don't have whatever on you, but don't actually test them to the extent that I do. And don't try to like properly compare to get that. Like I go very out of my way and spend time doing calcs and doing tests in practice before activating a constellation and after activating a constellation, so that I can get the vibe of whether or not how relevant certain things are in certain contexts. And yeah, so I don't know. That's the goal, and that's like, my hope is that because I do that, I shouldn't have to say that I do that, but because I do that, but you know what, funnily enough, it's a problem. Maybe I don't speak authoritatively enough. I am inherently a wishy-washy person because I believe context is inherently important to freaking everything in life, but particularly context is important to Genshin. And like, so I tend to not speak in absolutes, right? I tend to not speak very authoritatively, saying this is this way, and that's maybe part of the problem. Not ironically, because I just don't say things authoritatively enough, and I leave too much room for nuance, and that leaves too much room for people to disagree in the wrong ways or take the things I'm saying in an unintended way because I'm being too wishy-washy with my statements, right? So I don't know. Anyways. Nobody else is going to be doing Emily Skirk Burnmelt teams. What does Emily Skirk Burnmelt look like? Okay. So the tricksiness with Skirk in Burnmelt is you need to trigger freeze, or you need to trigger freeze, superconduct, cryocrystallize, or cryoswirl. Cryocrystallize or cryoswirl are going to be a pain in the ass. The only realistic ones you're going to be able to do is either superconduct or freeze. So the easiest way realistically is what? Skirk, Farina, Emily, Bennett. But burning uptime might be a bit sus. I don't know. How bad do I have to make the team before I can't clear? Yeah, I guess I could. Maybe that's what I should have done. Honestly, Buzz, I should have contacted you. Apparently, you always have these random good ideas. I feel like for how to frame ideas. That would have actually been a better way to frame this stream. Honestly, right? That would have been a better way to frame this stream. Like, how bad do I have to make this team before I can't clear? Right? Because like, okay, once I make the Candace Escoffier, Farina, Citlali team so bad that I can't clear with the Dia team, okay, now I can use a better team on the first side, right? How many do I have to remove artifacts from everybody before I can't clear? So I don't know, that is a good concept. Maybe I'll do that if I continue to see this discourse in the future. I don't know. Anyways, what's my plans for videos this week? I'm gonna jot a note down. Hey, dumbass. Go through account fixing submissions. I don't think an account fixing video is gonna happen this week, but I want to I need to spend like a good chunk of my time this week at least trying to do an account fixing video for next week. Submissions. So there's that. But for actual videos this week, IFA is like 99% going to happen this week. And that's going to be IFA in IFA teams. And by the way, this is going to be the first. I'm going to experiment with being less informative in the IFA video. Even if you still want informative stuff, I'll be like, yep, IFA has. I'm going to keep the information of IFA is intended to be at its baseline. You know, a unit you play with, in particular, Auron to maximize his passive damage buff, and because he heals, the main way you can actually take a value of him over someone like Sucrose as an on-field animal driver, because he's weaker than Sucrose at a baseline, but he does heal, so therefore the main relevant thing you do with the healing is playing with Farina. So his baseline teams are like Farina or Auron, and then you have a flex slot for doing shenanigans, right? That's his teams. That's so boring. I'm sorry, but that's one of his teams. So I'll explain that. So IFA, Auron, Farina, different teams I'll do with that. And then, of course, IFA crit DPS. I'll do that in the same video. So it's going to be like how good is DPS IFA, and I'll probably start with a Farazan team. So IFA, Farazan, Farina. Who's the last slot? Scovey, no. Aoife, Farazan, Farina, Bennett, I guess. Yeah, I guess it has to be. It might be how bad is. It might be presented as how bad is DPS Aoife, and then I can just be like, actually, kind of good, which is my expectation. He has good enough multipliers, at least at C6. I plan on using a C6 Aoife, because I'm going on Sylveon's account. But it'll be like, hey, actually kind of decent with constellations, which is kind of what Aoife is in general. He's with C6, his normal playstyle and his crit DPS playstyle is like, yeah, pretty good. So if you like the character, it's pretty good. But he's almost assuredly going to be in the category of like, you know, you only do this because you like the character, right? Which is fine. That's where I'm perfectly fine with 4-star characters being in that balance. But yeah. Anyways, there will be an Eva video, and it'll be messing around. And my point is, I'm gonna focus less on trying to like, here's my logic of like all the specific things here, and here's. I'm not gonna have 3 minutes in the video talking about the relevance of Eva constellations. I will be like, yes, this is C6 Eva. I can tell you C6 Eva, it matters for crit DPSing Eva, and it matters even for normal Eva, because it increases his healing to a level that's less garbage. So, anyways, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna not try to focus on providing a crazy amount of it. I'm not gonna try to have like a 3-minute guide section explaining all my thinking. In this instance, I'm just gonna like be like, all right, we're gonna try these teams, we're gonna try these teams, we're gonna try these teams, and I'll yap about things while I'm playing them. So I'll try to move away from just yapping about things and showing stats and explaining that, versus yapping about things while I'm actually doing gameplay. Is I think something I want to try. And we'll see what happens. That's not fundamentally different from what I'm doing. Like it's probably not gonna be. If you're worried that this is going to be like way different than I normally do, it's probably going to be very similar, just with a slight different balance, right? Of that. Submit for suggest meta randoms, yeah. But another video for the week. So I prefer doing at least 2 videos per week, if you haven't noticed. There's variants. I could make videos if I wanna have a yap video that also demonstrates why it's a problem. I don't know. I have DPS. I think Buzzog gave me this idea too. DPS Charlotte is as good as Ganyu now, right? That is a very clicky title where I would specifically demonstrate the experience of playing the same exact team. I could even put the same exact artifacts basically on Charlotte versus Ganyu and show that the clear times in Escoffier teams are basically the same, right? And that would be the point of that claim. And then from there branching to a yap about like, this is why Escoffier is a broken character. But whether or not I want to make that video is specifically whether or not I want to try to engage in the discourse of, you know, fighting with people to convince them that Escoffier is broken. I don't know. It's just like, I don't really want to, because it's so obvious she's broken. She's so simple to see why she's broken. So I just feel like there's no way I'm going to convince anyone who refuses to believe that she's broken. Right. So why bother making that kind of video? Like, I don't know. It's not she's just broken, she's a poorly designed unit. Yeah, I agree. I think she's a bit poorly designed. I think some of the same fundamental ideas could have been done in her kit, but made for more interesting team dynamics, right? Like, it's fairly telling to me that, like, I really love Chevreuse teams, and I don't really like the I think most of the Escoffier Hydro Cryo teams, outside of some context, like, I do like this one, but it's polearms only goofiness, right? I like some of the non-Farina teams quite a lot, but, like, how much it was designed around Farina, the lack of, like, compelling attack buffers, and the fact that there's no mechanical nuance to her, like, something as simple as Chevreuse needing to trigger an overload one every 6 seconds to keep up the res shred is pretty important, versus just LOL, how about the res shred is just always active, because her skill's always active. Like, there's nothing, there's no nuance to it other than at least rotate to freaking her Escoffier every 21 seconds. That's how long her skill lasts. Like, and actually not even 21 seconds. You could literally have the res shred up. If you press her skill once, her res shred, because of the fact that opponents hit by her skill have the res shred for 12 seconds. That means the uptime on her res shred is 33 seconds. It's just like, whereas Chevreuse is like, hey, you actually have to care about overload being triggered regularly. Like, at least Chevreuse cares about mechanics in the game, rather than just pressing E. I don't know. It's funny how like the baseline like red shred buffing and some other utility is there, but Chevr's teams are so much more engaging to play to me, and having to think about the rotation from like at least the first overload being triggered for the attack buff, and then also having some amount of consistent overloads after the fact. I don't know. And like yeah, you're not wrong, 99 Flower. Like it's obviously very good that we have options in the team in the game that are simple to play. I'd say Chevr's teams are generally speaking pretty simple to play, but aren't completely simple. Like Chevr's teams are the balance of simple teams to play, but still take some amount of thought that I think makes them engaging. I think that's the right balance. Whereas like just literally automatically doing damage, just pressing E and Q is not very interesting to me usually. Now that every single Escoffier Hydro Cryo team has no nuance to it or anything, but the Frida Escoffier ones tend to not have as much. But anyways, it's just a bit too simple for me. But it's fine if you just want really simple to play teams that do good damage, right? And yeah, I don't know. Anyways, it's good that there's options. There's so many freaking different characters in the game, right? Every character does not need to conform to my specific preference. But I think Escoffier is kind of unhealthy for the game, how she's been balanced. I think she could have been made very slightly differently, even if she was just as simple to use. She could have buffed in slightly different ways to make her team building a little bit more interesting, and to like fix the problem of how like Risley's ideal Escoffier team is Risley doing 25% of the team's damage. I think she could have been designed in slightly different ways so that, you know, you didn't have to ask yourself whether or not you pull Escoffier for Kniech over Emily. To be clear, I still think Emily is better for Kniech, but Escoffier is not much worse than Emily for Kniech, and covers a lot more different teams on top of Kniech teams as far as utility goes. Like Emily, I love Emily's kit. I think Emily, they did a wonderful job designing her. But she's not anywhere near as valuable as a pull because she's nowhere near as versatile. She's nowhere near as broken as a character. So I don't know. Like Escoffier for Kniech, yeah. Escoffier for Kniech is slightly worse than Emily. Slightly. And in my opinion, the only real reason Emily is more compelling than Escoffier for Kniech is because Emily is a nice user for Deepwood. So you can just always play Emily Deepwood on Kniech together and not have to worry about Deepwood. If you play Escoffier in Kniech teams, you need to be like, okay, who's on Deepwood? Not Escoffier usually. Probably not Eonson. Probably not Bennett. So your Pyro off-fielder is usually on Deepwood. That's annoying. You gotta put your Muika or your Pyro Traveler on Deepwood. Like that's annoying. Deepwood is an annoying factor, specifically in Kniech teams. And being that Emily can be that Deepwood holder, it's still technically optimal to have the Pyro unit on Deepwood in an Emily Kniech team, to be clear. Because it's better for someone else to be on Deepwood and Emily to have the burning set, right? But anyways, I don't know. For sure Resfred is more balanced. Putting a non-Dendro character in Deepwood isn't that bad. I'm not saying it's not that bad. Like, it's fine. I could put Escoffier in Deepwood and Kniech teams and be perfectly happy. My problem is having to do that every time you dare want to play Kniech. And to be clear, if you're like always playing Kniech all the time, that's not really a problem. But if you're someone who just like occasionally wants to play Kniech and doesn't want to have to configure your freaking builds every single time you dare use slightly different characters with him, is like, ugh, right? So, anyways, just keep Dia on Deepwood, yeah, and like yeah, if you're always playing a particular Kniech team, you can just do something like that, and it's fine. I don't think it's that big an issue for a lot of players, but being that Emily can be the Deepwood holder and do a compelling amount of damage on Deepwood, like, it's like, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, as far as the Reshfred for Iced Coffee goes, like, the reason that is the way it is because if it was any lower, there is context where swapping out they wanted to make it so they wanted to make her versatile. It's very obvious from her design level. They wanted to make her versatile. So they wanted to make it so, because, like, you know, you don't do full electro pyro with Chevreuse. Her passive doesn't work at all. You don't get any red shred. Whereas her, you do get red shred if you like remove a hydro cryo unit, right? You'll need 2 to get the first 10% red shred, which is the most important red shred oftentimes. But going from 55 to 40% and it being as high as it is because, okay, imagine an Escoffier team, but remove, imagine I'm doing this team, right? But I remove Candace in exchange for Kazuha. Is Kazuha better than Candace here? The red shred is the same. We get 45% red shred. And then we get Kazuha's swirl damage and grouping. And this is a circle impacty team. Right? Like that's why it's balanced the way it is to give her flexibility. It's to make her versatile. And if she had, like, say 40% res shred instead of 55% res shred for her full buff, but then the same 15 whatever 10-5, well then Kazuha would just start to be Kazuha or Shiloden or whatever would start to be like objectively better in a lot of most contexts. So I don't know why the late stream, because I woke up late because I went to sleep. So I normally go to sleep at like 2-3 a.m. This is by like natural. It tends to be. I almost always like the way my brain seems to work is like my natural time to fall asleep. The good sleep schedule is go to sleep around 3-ish a.m. Last night after visiting my family, I came home and I fell asleep at 10 p.m. Woke up at 2 p.m. Or sorry, 2 a.m. So like a 4-hour nap. Didn't fall asleep again until 10 a.m. Just like sat on my phone, did random crap. Like if you were on my Discord server, for like 4 hours straight, I was just yapping in the Genshin Leaks channel on my Discord server. I had 5 a.m. hot takes, such as Fav weapons were a mistake. Maybe that can be a video I make this week. Maybe I'll just make another yap video. Maybe I can make Fav weapons are a mistake video. I'm not gonna explain that. I don't feel like explaining it right now. So I don't know. Point being, I eventually did fall asleep again at like 10 a.m. and then woke up at 2 p.m. So I've had 8 hours of sleep, but you know, in 2 4-hour blocks. Hence late stream. And then I had spent like 2 hours prepping for the stream. To be clear, I had to spend 2 hours prepping for the stream to make the. Oh, button didn't work. No, I know. Oh yeah, because I did the. Yeah. I had to spend 2 hours prepping for the stream to make this. This took a bunch of time to input, and also did whatever. So I mean, it didn't take quite 2 hours, but I also had to make the thumbnail and whatever. I think it was more like an hour realistically. I didn't actually check that. Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyways, that video is sacrilegious. Fab is our Lord and Savior. Okay, man, I don't want to get in this whole yap right now because this could be the video. But like, yes, if you try to like imagine this game, if everything else was the same, but we delete Fab from existence, yes, Genshin becomes a lot more miserable of a game to play, I'd say. The combat experience becomes just worse. But that's like a silly hypothetical in my opinion. Because if the Fab weapons didn't exist, the game would not be exactly... Like, character kits would not be balanced exactly the same way they are. Right? There is a lot of characters that have been significantly balanced and designed around the existence of Fab weapons. To an extent, in my opinion, that in the current state of Genshin, so many characters, and because they're gacha weapons, other than the one R1 Fab bow you get for free, like, it can cause miserable experiences where, like, I honestly kind of feel having so many Fab weapons on my main account is almost more unrelatable than having... it depends on your account. Like, I don't know what Fab weapons you have in your account, how many R5 copies you have, but, like, they're so strong. Like, and having flexibility, like, the very fact that this year I've had the flexibility because, like, even I have so many extra Fab weapons because of my screen of, not on this account, but my screen of mistakes on my main account. I have so many extra Fab weapons that when a character releases that, hey, there's another character I think I'm going to use all the time, Eonson, for example. Well, I just need to level him up one of the Fab lances I have. Like, the fact that I have that option is, like, meaningful. And, like, like, Fabs are kind of a problem with how many characters need them, is my point. And it's because they design characters around Fav existing. They design characters, they balance characters' energy needs. The energy system fundamentally is probably designed around the fact that Fav weapons existed. From the launch of the game, they knew they existed. They aren't stupid. Like, they probably didn't understand the full extent of what the current state of the game would look like today when they first were designing the Fav weapons and whatever. But, like, the fact of the matter is the Fav weapons exist, and they had balanced how they designed other things around the Fav weapons existing. I think if Fab weapons didn't exist, a lot of things like differences in experience using different characters would like more people would probably I think the average player experience would be more consistent between two different players if Fab weapons didn't exist, essentially. Like imagine what Farina's balance, I don't have Farina's account. Imagine what Farina's balance would look like for her energy situation if Fab didn't exist as an option for her. You might say, oh, it wouldn't be different at all. I disagree, because I think at minimum they would do something like, if you don't know how energy works, this is basically what the video is at this point, frick me. Like the energy system, when you catch particles off field, which is Farina catches the vast majority of her particles off field unless you use Fav. And when you catch particles off field, you get a lot reduced value from the energy particles compared to when you catch them on field. I'm not saying they would be equivalent if Fab weapons didn't exist, but I think those values would be slightly different, right? I think Farina would maybe generate more total particles if Fab weapons didn't exist, right? Because even if it's like even if Farina herself, they wanted Farina to still have high ER needs without this hypothetical universe of Fab universe not existing, they would still probably not be as bad as they currently are. And like her utility wouldn't be as like different as it is with different amounts of ER and different teams on her, if Fab weapons didn't exist, because they factor Farina's kit balance around the fact that even if you're not using Fav on Farina, you're likely using Fav on other units in the team, right? Like they absolutely balance character kits around the fact that, you know, you probably have Fav on one or two characters in the team. And I don't know, and like Fab weapons cause this weird problem where like they make the weapon banner even more of a scam. Oh, I can do a single pull, how exciting. They make the weapon banner even more of a scam. Like, because the Shilonen signature weapon, Shilonen has two signature weapons. One of them is Paw Patrol, her 5-star weapon. The other signature weapon is Fav. There are situations where I have removed Paw Patrol and put Fav on Shilonen and changed Shilonen's build to be a Fav trigger for energy, because energy is better than 25% damage bonus sometimes. Like, Favs are too good. They're too much better than the alternatives. And there's no fixing it at this point in the game. I'm just saying, in the hypothetical reality where they didn't exist, things would be a bit different. Character kits would be balanced differently. Different weapons would be balanced differently. And like, I don't. So, yeah, there you go. That's basically the video if I end up making it, but maybe a little bit more nuanced, because I'll probably think it over a bit more and write some more notes and give some more. I'll probably, like, if I'm gonna make this video, I want to like demonstrate some examples of what I'm talking about with the power of Fav weapons, because like the goal would be to illustrate how overpowered Fav is for people that don't understand, and to try to yap about hypothetical of like how character kits would be different. And whatever else would be different in the underlying structure of the game if Favs didn't exist. Yeah, like there's no reality where if Favs didn't exist, the game would be exactly the same as it is, right? So I don't know. Did they design the energy that way and Fav is a solution? I don't think they intended Fav weapons to be as strong as they are. Like I think they intended Fav weapons to be generic supportive utility weapons. I don't think they intended them to be as strong as they are. But, you know, Fav is getting really overrated. Have you seen the characters they released this last year? Fav is becoming more relevant. The more characters released, the more relevant Fav is. I'm using different account, but I'm using Fav on my Escoffier over Homa on my main account, because I found enough different contexts where I wanted her burst up more often, and she does enough damage at a baseline. I didn't feel like I needed Homa, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm leveling another Fav for Escoffier. Fav is far and above Eon Son's signature weapon. This character is a different experience to use in different teams with Fav or not. The entire meta sits in the back of Favs, yeah. Fav is not overrated. They're just broken as hell. The Fav was more of a mistake than Escoffier's kit was. That's a real hot take, actually. That's how to make Zajef mad. That's the Zajef clickbait thumbnail. Make sure I get Zajef to watch the video. Fav was more of a mistake than Escoffier. Do you like the energy particles travel time thingy? I think that is potentially one thing that could easily be different if in the alternative reality where Fav weapons never exist in the first place. I think it's possible characters got energy directly from their abilities over time in some form rather than the energy particle thing. And like to be clear, I think like Genshin's energy system is a really clever, it's like one of the actually most unique mechanics in Genshin. So like it's encroaching in territory of like me saying things could have been different in a way that's like the only thing I can easily think of is like genericizing the game's mechanics. And I think Genshin's energy mechanics are really cool, and I like the Fav weapons, but it being a gacha game and Favs being acquirable through gacha and the experience being so different if you have different amounts of Fav weapons for different kinds of characters really is not ideal. It's really just a problem of being a gacha game, I guess, at the end of the day. So I don't know. The energy system is cool though. So I don't know. So yes, I don't dislike the travel time of energy particles, but I think it's likely if Favs didn't exist, that could be one thing that would be different. And anyways. Yep. Shenhe's signature weapon is Fav. Let's do ye olde what polearm character's signature weapons are Fav. I can make an argument for Escoffier. You know what? Sorry, I'm gonna say it. Because of Escoffier's need to burst, she's so balanced around Farina that she needs to burst, and Farina needs to burst. So like those two units together both really need to burst. Having them both on Fav is quite compelling, in my opinion. And then you just focus on like mostly crit stats. You don't need to be as concerned about energy recharge like stats and like I'm gonna say it. There are definitely situations depending on what your artifact situation is on your account and the exact team. Fav could be better for like your ability to clear with the Escoffier Farina teams than her signature weapon. So that is to say, there are contexts where I could see that it's a similar situation like I mentioned with Shalonen, where like you choose to use Fav over the signature weapon, right? So yeah. She is a polearm unit where Fav can be a signature weapon for her, but not universally. This character basically universally Fav is better. Not 100%, I don't feel like getting that mess. You're a generic supportive utility unit in like 99% of the time, so yes, Fav is your signature weapon. Fav is a compelling weapon option on U2 for various reasons, but not as much, I would say. Not as much of the extent of Escoffier, because Escoffier bursts conjunction with importance with Farina. Emily burst is less important. Emily burst is just for damage. No, obviously, yes, you can say yes, it is her signature weapon realistically, but I actually don't like Fav on her that much personally, but it pretty much is her signature weapon technically. Mika, yes. Candace, yes. Sino, I mean, one of the main things that's really awful about Sino is energy, and like if you want him to feel not shite in Overworld, I think you use Fav on him, and an option for DPSing him in Abyss is Fav, probably, because just spec him his artifacts into damage stats, and you probably don't have to worry about ER if you put Fav on him, and he's triggering Fav a few times a rotation, but it depends on your refine, I think, a little bit. Yes, it's her signature weapon. Yes, it's her signature weapon. Yujin, actually, funnily enough, because of the defense polearm, and how she's kind of an ass Fav trigger, it's kind of impossible to get a perfect build on her. It's really hard. So Fav is her signature weapon. It is better than the defense polearm, but it's so annoying to build her for Fav. And like I think you kind of need an R5 Fav. Like I'll say actually it is her signature weapon, but annoying. And I would actually say if you want to use Yunjin, it might be a serious consideration to just use the craftable defense percent polearm instead for convenience. And then you put Fav on Shalonen with Yunjin instead. Anyways, Toma, yes, basically a signature weapon. I mean, if you're min-maxing his burgeon damage, I guess you could say Katane or whatever. Yes, there's a different context. Raiden, I mean, look, Raiden's true value lies in supportive utility, especially in the current state of Genshin, in my opinion. So, like, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, it kind of is. I know basically nobody does that, but like, it kind of is, because like, let's say like a supportive utility, you use your own tenacity for an Arlecchino overload team. That's actually a very compelling use case for her, is Raiden as your off-field electro unit to keep up overloads for Chevr's buff. In that kind of team, like, your choice is either Dragon's Bane to maximize her overload triggering damage, or you put Fav on her for more energy, and that could be quite compelling. I don't know, right? Rosaria, yeah, for most of Rosaria's teams, outside of teams where you're specifically trying to maximize Rosaria's damage, so like a Melt Rosaria, Freeze Rosaria team, like I'm playing on polearms only, it is her signature weapon. Xiangling, yeah, it kind of is too. I honestly feel that more strongly as time goes on, because having more flexibility to burst on her with her being used as a solo pyro unit is very nice. Zhongli, yeah, it kind of is too. Xiao, generally speaking, no. Hu Tao, generally speaking, no. Like, does that illustrate the point? I don't know. So to be clear, I think polearms are a little bit of an exaggerated product category. I mean, they are products. Character category. Swords is kind of a similar situation. Catalysts are not as much in that situation because Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers is broken. Yup. People don't use Fav on Xiangling. I think a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't because they're insane. Sorry, this is just a joke. Obviously, the catch. Xiangling works on every polearm in the game, and because of her freaking aspect of working on every polearm in the game, people might not feel like Fav is her signature weapon, but I kind of think it is still. So, I don't know. Most teams would be quick swap in nature if Favs didn't exist. Most carries wouldn't be able to have extended field time. Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting conversation to have. I'm not saying I'd be the perfect person necessarily to even have it, but I don't know. Bow units, pretty much any off-fielder that's a bow unit tends to have Fav as a relevant weapon. So yes, 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 yes. Like, yes, kind of, but it depends what your priority is. Like, if you're gonna focus more down into her buffing, you might do the HP bow. And like, yes, because Fischl's damage is important enough that you probably don't want to use the low base attack Fab bow weapon on her. But Amber is yes, but most people doing Amber for supportive utility are probably using her because they have Elegy, which means kind of no. And Catalyst units, yeah, is the most nuanced category because of the fact that Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers exists and muddles things a lot on the relevance of using Fab in different team contexts. It just is a big ol' it depends. But yes, depends. You can't crit, so, well, you can, but okay. One crit Kokomi video I haven't done is crit Kokomi to use Fab on her. Oh god, that's actually a really funny idea to me. I don't think that many people would actually watch it. But like, build 4-piece MH on Kokomi, and as much crit rate as possible. You use crit Kokomi for a Fav user in a Escoffier team. It's obviously stupid. You should just do like TDDS on her, but it's a really funny idea to do crit Kokomi. Not because you wanted to get crits on Kokomi for damage, just because you want to use Fab. The Fab issues is why Hoyo started to make characters that don't need energy to burst like Muika. But Muika's supports need to. Like, I don't disagree with you fundamentally. That might be part of their intention, maybe. But anyways, oh yeah, prototype Amber existing too also muddles things. It's true for Fav, or for. So wait, is this another moment of the game's balance becomes better if prototype Amber exists for all weapon categories? Anyways, yeah, Charlotte Fav is basically our signature weapon most of the time because ER needs. Otherwise, TDDS would be very compelling on her. I don't know. Anyways, if you can't make TDDS work on Citlali, it's probably a strong consideration. Citlali. Anyway, so like Catalyst is the weirdest category for sure because of how strong the different supportive weapon options are for Catalysts in general. Fav is one of the compelling supportive weapon options for Catalysts. They just have the most options, therefore there's no really universal answer, generally speaking, for Fav weapons being objectively better on Catalyst units. Like there is for bow, swords, polearms, and to a lesser extent Claymores. But Claymores, funnily enough, is just a problem they haven't released that many compelling supports in general for Claymores, right? So there's not that many characters that you care about using Fav Greatsword on. Like, it's arguably the worst Fav weapon because they haven't released relevant supports in Claymores. So, anyways. Were you not crushed that Zajev didn't like your Proto Amber for all theory? What was it? I mean, he was tired at the time. What was his reason? Does anyone remember? I don't even remember what his reason was. Yeah, I know he didn't have that much of a reaction to it. He didn't agree with it. I forgot why he didn't like the idea as much. He said some weapons shouldn't have the passive. Oh wait, no, wasn't it something based on like, I think what he disagreed with was like my idea of like weapons with like not energy main stat that shouldn't have that passive. I think like, so I believe that's what he said, but I don't know. He definitely wasn't as enthused about the idea as I was. I don't know, but I also think he's someone that's probably just a side effect of I feel like he hasn't truly realized the shenanigan potential of abusing prototype Amber, but I understand because it's annoying as heck to try to abuse it. Because it requires doing weirdness like Maidens builds and or having C2 Farina and or having multiple R5 Fabs, or sorry, R5 prototype Ambers on the same team, which is part of my point of why like I think having a prototype Amber passive in every weapon type would fix the problem of like Farina or Escoffier being broken for being a healer for Farina. If you could turn other characters in, if you could turn Chiori into a team-wide healer, even if she was a poor team-wide healer, it'd help the balance, right? So, anyways, but yeah. Why don't you level Dory? Will you level Dory for upcoming co-op stuff? That's actually a video I'm considering making, but probably will wait a little bit. Probably not until they announce the co-op. So the fact that co-op, by the way, is doable, because originally it was said that the co-op in the new... I should go do my dailies. The co-op was not going to be playable in the highest difficulty mode, but apparently it is. It's just you can't do random matching for the co-op in the end game with the higher difficulty modes, but you can have people in your game that you do co-op. So you can have people join your world, right, through the friend screen or whatever. So don't tell me I have to be friends because it can be random clicking, right? So point being, I actually really like that. I feel that the new endgame, from what I've seen of it right now, I don't want to be negative about some aspects of it right now because I'd rather wait until I play it to give true opinions on it. But the fact that it can be played in co-op, and the fact that the enemy HP scaling is always 150%, it doesn't have stupid. So if you have 4 players in Genshin co-op, the default HP scaling is, why did I brain? The default HP scaling is, I believe, 200% with 4 players, or 250. Is it 250? Jesus. So either way, like, that's ridiculous, and that HP scaling is why like some of those hard events they've done in the past, right, where you could fight really high difficulty bosses, if you went into co-op, it became like utterly nonsense for their HP, like that it just it was stupid. But this endgame seems like the co-op endgame might make co-op theory crafting a real thing. And so like Tars, for example, had the point that I think was really interesting, in that what might be one of the best co-op characters? Why? Because remember, if you're doing like 4 people, right? Everyone's on field with 4 characters, and characters have downtime in their abilities because of like normal rotation things that when you normally have multiple characters. So like in co-op, if you have your Kaniche for whatever, right? You're going to spend half of your field time doing normal attacks and not doing anything meaningful real for damage. A cooldown reduction for C2 Chongyun universally for every character, and Chongyun can do a little bit of damage on himself, and give it infusion that might help a little bit. So it's not making everyone have an infusion that's important. It's the cooldown reduction. But infusions will be much more interesting, to be clear, in co-op, because it seems like one of the core things they're going to do with the gameplay gimmick is that a lot of bosses will have like shield mechanics, like Abyss, but like even more specific mechanics. Like the Tulpa is apparently going to be the shield version of the Tulpa that was in that one event, but not as tanky, I believe. So that means like having infusions to give everyone a certain infusion to do a bunch more application could be a very relevant way to clear it faster. And I don't know, there's going to be like, I'm not saying that like, oh, co-op's going to be the way to clear this highest difficulty endgame. But it should actually make for a real reason to have unique teams that work in a specific way with how co-op works in Genshin, right? Oh boy, this is the ideal team for these. Let's see, how much damage do I do? And it changes the kinds of builds you consider using. It makes fab weapons even better. So, anyways, I quite like the new endgame doesn't seem crazily interesting from a perspective of what happened? How much did that do? Oh, it broke it. Nice. It doesn't seem insanely interesting to me from a single player perspective, but co-op seem interesting, and I think that'll be fun. Hopefully, we'll see. Could be wrong. Okay, just this one. We might be free from Fab, since some support characters will be able to skill off cooldown. That's true, yeah. Like Bennett will be able to spam his skill. Like, yeah, what do you do for a Bennett build in co-op, right? Like, Bennett's going to be one of the strongest co-op characters, because infusion plus Bennett buff go burr. And healing. Bennett's a strong character. But you probably, because of the fact that you could just get to spam Bennett E constantly, I don't know, right? Full overload teams will be relevant for co-op. Yeah. Shivers is going to be OP. We know this. Yeah, 4-piece TF will be fun. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, there's shenanigans to be had, and more reason for like, there's more reason for considering doing silly things like, DPSing the support characters when you're stuck on field doing co-op only with the support character. So trying to find that balance of like doing some damage while also doing the supportive thing the character does is important. So I don't know. Eon Song becomes garbage. Oops. I feel like they should tweak some minor thing. Like, I feel like Eon Sun's kit should be tweaked minorly in this game mode, but because Eon Sun won't be able to get any Night Soul. She shouldn't become garbage. It's just going to be weird and not nearly as compelling. So, anyways. So, anyways. It looks like it'll be pretty cool. Makes sense they're finally doing some sort of loadouts. Supposedly they aren't. We got clarification from the person that actually used it in a person seeing it in game, in the private server, I believe, and it seems like it's just a UI update for the existing, this system. Apparently it's just a UI change for this system, supposedly, Maybe. I don't know. They were kind of like vague on the information, which means maybe it's because like they didn't actually fully implement it yet. Maybe it is actually going to be. I don't know. Point is, it kind of seems like it's not real. Which is why like as soon as I heard about it, I was like, please, hopefully this time it's true. But also I'm gonna assume it's not because we've been through this before. We've been through this multiple times before.
Thank you for
Where they do something that's like load out a line and it's like, oh, every time, every time it's like load out. Oh, okay. I got my hopes up again. How many times must you betray me before I lose all trust in you? As Jeff was talking about, Nuvilet will have basically kind of infinite uptime in co-op. Will that be even more relevant with Chungus? What's his cooldowns? I don't remember. I'm not used to like min-maxing Nuvilet balls to be the perfect person to answer this. 12 seconds? 18 seconds? Yeah, it should be pretty good. Yeah. Like, I just Chongyun, Farina, Escoffier, and Nuvilet team is going to be one of the best co-op teams, right? Because Chongyun will reduce cooldown for everyone. Chongyun will give a cryo infusion so that, you know, the Farina and the Escoffier player can enjoy having their off-fielder units on field by seeing cryo numbers, even if it doesn't necessarily contribute that much damage. It'll be an enjoyable aspect. They could choose, I mean, the Escoffier player in particular probably wants to do an attack goblet anyways. But yeah, reducing his burst cooldown to, what is it, 15%? I'll do a calculator for that. Shoop-a-doop, 0.15 times 18. That's 2.7 seconds less, so that's like 15 seconds for him. By the way, Prototype Amber might even become very compelling on him as well in co-op, because one, turn him into a team healer, and two, energy, because one problem with doing shorter rotation things like taking advantage of cooldown reduction is that you might need more energy. So anyways, but skill cooldown would be reduced by 2 seconds approximately, so to 10 seconds, which should be, I think, fairly significant. The challenge, by the way, starts, it's 120 seconds at the highest difficulty, so 2 minutes instead of minute and a half. So we're talking if he has a 10-second skill cooldown, assuming everything, you know, the Chongyun player lines things up properly, that is, you know, theoretically 12 skill uses. So that's 12 times 3 balls. That's 36 balls, right? And how many extra bursts is that? 16-second burst, so 120 divided by 16. That's 7.5 bursts. So, wait, does it actually give you an extra burst or not? What is 120 divided by 18? It does give you an extra burst. So it would be an extra burst, so that's an extra 6 balls, right? So, and also how many extra skills is that? 120 divided by, what's skill cooldown based on? 12 seconds. Divided by 12 is 10 versus 120 divided by 10.2 is 11.7. So yeah, you should get at least, you can theoretically, again, I don't know if the exact timings of this will work out, but theoretically, Chongyun would give Nuvilet 3 extra charge attacks, right? But yeah, I am aware, Tars. I'm aware that the timings won't necessarily line up that well. But Chongyun players better be playing Sack Greatsword, let's be real. They better be playing Sack Greatsword to help mitigate that issue. If they ain't, they grieving. They grieving. Right. You gotta use this on the Chungus, I feel. But anyways, yeah, I don't think it'll necessarily, because like how long Nuvilet needs to beam for means that Nuvilet won't necessarily get that much more damage, because like he has to be able to use the balls and get a full charge attack sequence out to be able to, you know, take advantage of having more balls. So other than that, it's just the additional damage value from skill and burst activation, which isn't nothing. So yeah, I don't know. Realistically, Chongyun, whatever, Nuvilet is not necessarily be that incredible, I suspect. But there should be plenty of circumstances where it does become relevant. And at the very least, the cooldown reduction, even like it will mitigate issues potentially, like in gameplay. Because having more balls up more often will help, you know, when the Nuvolette player gets interrupted, for example. Yada yada. So when Zajeff was calcing, he included Nuvolette having to manually charge attack. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if he did, then maybe the balls are good. I don't know. So it's weird. It's weird, and it's interesting that this is all a consideration. This is the weirdness of co-op theory crafting, right? So I think for single player content, this new end game is probably not going to be that crazy or interesting. It might just be, in many ways, slightly more annoying than Abyss is my suspicion for single player. But co-op stuff, I think seems kind of fun. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Also, by the way, in case you aren't aware, the Primogem rewards, we don't know how often it refreshes. But the Primogem rewards are 450 Primogems. And you get those Primogems at difficulty level 3 out of 5. You get very minor rewards, it seems like, for the highest difficulty. So if you're just concerned about Primogems, you don't have to stress about this stuff. And from what we've been told, you have 10 minutes. At difficulty 3, you have 10 minutes to clear. I think people will be fine for getting the rewards. Fab Sethos about to go crazy. Yeah, true, honestly. So, oh man, Sethos, Electro application and co-op. Sethos going to be so fun of a co-op character. Everyone theory crafting before co-op leg ruins everything. I mean, yeah, that's true. Hopefully Mihoyo might be motivated to improve some underlying workings of Genshin's co-op experience. Maybe. That's probably a little bit hopeful, but I don't know. Yeah. Single player, it's just going to be, hey, would you like to fight bosses with more specific mechanics? Not single player, interesting, is my current feeling. We'll see. Good thing is the artifact rewards that grant 16% more artifacts the days the new Abyss is open. I don't really get, like, 16% more artifacts, if that is the amount of artifacts we get from it, is so fucking pointless. I don't get the point of it. It has to be 100% more for me to give an absolute shite about the artifact thing. Or alternatively, change it, because right now it's you pick a domain. So if you wanted, you could do this new game mode, get slightly more artifacts from like the plunge skirk artifact domain. Yay. You still have to use resin for it. Wow. It's barely better than the domain farming, but it's the same as the domain farming. You still get randomized. Like if it was select one specific artifact and you guaranteed getting your, like, you're not getting Whimsy and the Burning Set. You're getting only Whimsy artifacts. You're getting only Skirk artifacts. Like if it was what it is now, but you choose one specific artifact set, awesome. But it's not. It's choose a freaking domain. It's just domain farming, but it takes more time to farm, presumably. I don't know. And it's like for like, ooh, you'll get one extra artifact every 3 centuries. I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe this mode resets every week or something. I don't know. And it's one extra artifact every week. I'm not gonna say that like one extra artifact every week for the same amount of resin over the course of a year will potentially increase the amount of, artifacts you have. It's like, it's not bad to get more artifacts, I guess, but it's just such a nothing thing right now, is my opinion. So I don't know. We're just yapping about the new Abyss. Sorry. Big Tato. Anyways. First co-op activity that will actually incentivize people to find friends in Genshin. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I'm optimistic about it. I'm quite looking forward to the next patch. For the new stuff, at least with co-op. And I think Skirk's kit looks like a weird mess. Yeah, like the biggest compliment I can give to Skirk is, one, if you know me, I'm someone who, generally speaking, it's much harder to get me enthused and interested in on-fielder kits. Especially on-fielders that tend to be restrictive. And at a baseline, that's what Skirk seems to be. But her kit has enough weird nuance to how it can be used, that I'm quite optimistic I will enjoy using her in various ways, but I might be wrong. And I think she will become a rare on-fielder that I really like for a 5-star on-fielder. For various reasons, and we shall see. But the biggest compliment I can give to her is that Skirk's kit very much seems like Skirk's kit. Even though she has Night Soul, but not Night Soul. She has Sneck Soul, but it's not Night Soul, it's Sneck Soul. So she can't use Natline mechanics, but she has Night Soul. That's a minor downside to me for sure. But, yeah. Anyways, please don't make her burst animation like 3 seconds long. It is very long. Yeah, it is a very long burst animation right now. But yeah. Anyways. Yeah, we'll probably, when the new endgame happens, we'll probably have a... We might change this, so I currently have like a theater channel on my Discord server. We'll probably change the theater UID sharing channel to just a co-op UID sharing channel, right, on my server. But anyways, yeah. I'm relatively confident Skirk will be fun enough for shenanigans that I will enjoy her. And if I can make Melt Skirk work, even if I have to put in a Hydra unit and she's not getting melts consistently, if I can make Melt Skirk work, Bennett in the Nahida, or I really wish she was quick swappy. I really, really wish she allows some quick swapping. But you know, that's one thing that might actually kill some of my enjoyment of her. We'll see. Yeah. Just put in Dolly. He won't mess up your melts. Well, I mean, it depends on when I can trigger the. I need to apply cryo, right? And if she's the only cryo unit for a melt team, I need to probably have some off-field Hydra application that lines up at timings. So I don't know. I think Burn Melt is the way to go. So I think it's something janky like Burn Melt with Farina Bennett, then either Nahida or Emily. And you probably don't have to do Burn Melt. You can probably do an off-field Pyro, to be clear. It's not instead of an off-field Dendro. An off-field Pyro might be better. But the idea with Burn Melt is that it has the right balance of potentially being able to reduce the burning reaction with Hydro or Cryo. You might not need a Hydro unit. Well, no, we need to... you might be able to do it with Electro, right? Reduce the burning aura with Cryo, like triggering Melt, right? But then you can still generate Void Rifts by having an Electro unit in the team triggering Superconduct, right? I think there will be ways to make it work. Oh, frick! Eon Son Emily Bennett might work. or Eon Son off-field Pyro Skirk might work. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. It might not. I think you only need to generate one Void Rift for Melt Skirk to be compelling, is my current assumption. But anyways. I think you're cooked because of C6 Bennett? How? I don't know why. Anyways, how am I still streaming? Because I'm stupid. And I said I was going to do a short stream and then I gave up. But anyways. This is a short stream. Yep. But this should probably be the end of stream. I said it's freaking 8 p.m. here now, and I said I wanted to do Zenless Story, and I do want to do Zenless Story. So I think I'm gonna end the stream. Even though I clearly have more yap in me. Yep. So, anyways. I'm gonna go... Should I pin this? I don't know. For people who hung through at least the testing phase, should I pin this in this Gofier video? I said I replied to some of the people there that I said I was gonna pin it. But I almost feel like it's pointless to pin it. Should I pin the link for this? I don't know. Skirk has an infusion. She has a conversion, technically. She does cryo damage when you do her skill. I don't know. Anyways. Should you build physical Shao for the funnies if you want to, yeah. Which part of the story are you at? I haven't done the new story at all in Zenless. Whatever the newest main story is. The part B of the Hugo questline. So yeah, you know, I'll go pin this stream. I'll be like, hey, watch the first like hour-ish of this. If you want the proof of constellations Citlali weapon not mattering, I'll just go put that in the comment. Anyways, isn't C6 Bennett gonna override the infusion? No, it's a conversion, not an infusion. If it does, actually, that's funny as heck. I could be wrong, actually. I'm like 99% sure it's a conversion, not an infusion, though. Since Tars made his infusion video, I've been trying to be quite intentional with calling, you know, characters giving themselves an infusion, not an infusion, if it's not an infusion. Like C6 Lynette is an infusion. But, which is why I can get overridden. Ayaka is giving herself an infusion. But, there's a difference between infusion and conversion. And usually character kits will say converted to element. Like, I believe that is what source kit says. It says converted to cryo. That does not, that means it can't be overridden because it's converted. It's not infused. So, anyways, I've been trying to use the different words to communicate that they do different things, right? When it's an infusion versus a conversion, that's when you have to worry about overriding. So if you see the word not that. Converted in character kits, right? And usually, to be clear, almost always, when it says this, it says converted to electro damage. It also says cannot be overridden at the same time. But I believe every single ability in the game that says like characters, you know, normal attacks, whatever, are converted to type of damage. It all pretty much always says converted to be overridden or cannot be overridden, but there's not a single unit that says conversion that can be overridden, even if they don't say that overridden line. So yeah, that's why I've been trying to use the conversion description for saying that, you know, Cyno doesn't get an electro infusion, Cyno gets an electro conversion. All right, that's what I think people need to use a little bit more. Arlecchino, where does it say it in Arlecchino? Where does it say in Arlecchino? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Converted. And it also says cannot be overridden, right? So, yeah. Converted. Difference between conversion and infusion. Yeah. Converted. Yep. Conversion to be priority 1, infusion to be priority 2. Pretty much, yeah. But infusions versus other infusions, so like, you know, C6 Lynette versus C6 Bennett, you know, C6 Bennett will override C6 Lynette because infusion priority being the reaction system. But anyways, your definition of short is different. True. We'll end the stream with a Bongo Cat box. Wow. Sorry, we'll end the stream with a Bongo Cat trade-in. How many greens do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh. Close to a rare trade-in again. Alright. Exciting. New item, a flower hat. Wow. A flower crown. That's probably the correct word for it. Where is it? Bam. Wonderful. Bye. Stream maybe tomorrow. Depends if I'm in the mood. Zenless stream will be Wednesday because that's when the banner